Hey, welcome, Stunthanger fans. I'm about 2 minutes late. I was reading about an RC club that I'm going to tell you something about a little later on, and got involved in that and forgot it was so late. So anyway, 9:42, 2 minutes late. We'll make it, and it's Monday, the 8th of April. And welcome. We'll hang out here until at least midnight. And looks like we got three people over on the YouTube side that are watching us right now. Let me mute my YouTube video so I can turn my sound on. There we go. And off we go. Got the chat box open and ready for anybody that wants to post. And RC Club. Ah, shoot. My video started by itself. Sorry about that. Anyway, I was trying to avoid that. But anyway, Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend, and we'll be here till at least midnight. If conversations gets good, we'll go on later. And so, if you want to drop in, you go to the usual place in the Stunthanger control line forums in the live stream / at the bench thread. You can click the link if you want to come in with your camera and microphone. Otherwise, you can go to the YouTube page for Stunthanger, and it will have the video and the chat box there. You can talk to us with text, just like Mr. Jack Snavely is doing. Good evening, Jack. Glad to see you out there typing at me. And some, hopefully some more will be in soon. And I've got a copy of Gary Sinclair's calendar I'm going to show when some of the other people get in. It's what I've been soliciting pictures for lately so we could fill out a year's worth of pictures. And been a little slow going, but hopefully we'll get it filled out. He can go ahead and print those up and send them out, and I'll show you an example of what it is we'll be getting once we get a few more viewers and talkers in. Weather was great this weekend. It was in the 70s, mostly the upper 70s and lower 80s, and good enough to work up a sweat. I got out in the shop both days, and had a good time. Hey, Gary Sinclair, good to see you. I've got your calendar in the mail this weekend, and waiting for some folks to show up, and I'll give them that example of what you're doing for us. And it looks good. I like the way it fits in the CD case. Pretty cool. But anyway, so oh, here comes Sparky. Let me let Mr. Sparky in, and here we go. Hey, Sparky. Good evening. So here we are, Monday night. Everybody, I appreciate y'all coming. Y'all don't forget the super chat box at the bottom of the YouTube text. We appreciate it when you click on that and give us a little extra funding for the server fees and everything Sparky has to do to keep this alive and free. And we got Mark Williams and Gary Sinclair. Bob Bishop's out there. Mark says, hi, Rusty. I've been trying to register on Stunthanger. For some reason, it won't accept me to register.
It'll accept you to register if you use your real first and last name. It's that simple. If you don't use your real first and last name, you ain't getting through.
And it's got to be a space between the first and last name.
Right. You don't have to show your name. You can change that, change your display name, but in order to register, you got to have your first and last name.
So if that helps you out, Mark, good luck. If you don't get in touch with me or Sparky and let us know, and we'll help you get it worked out. So how was your weekend, Sparky?
Pretty good. I got my 9,000 yen gas tank today. Dropped an ounce and a half off my airplane.
I don't convert yen to dollars, but I presume that's one of those carbon fiber gas tanks that costs a lot of money.
You bet. My third one. Yep. I got $300 worth of gas tanks.
Oh, man. Why? What's the advantage to that? Just the lightweight? Is that part of it? Here, let me click on you so we can see it.
This tank here is a clunky tank. It's the light tank, the flexible tank. This weighs 2.5 ounces. A carbon tank weighs 1 ounce.
Okay, substantial difference then. Yeah, what you just held up, that's a lot like what I use on most of my planes. So extra weight.
Here's a carbon tank out of my Junior XL. This is only 180 cc's. It's too small, so I had to order a 240.
Mm-hmm. And it's probably, I guess it's basically seamless too, so less chance of leaking like the metal and the, well, I guess the plastic tanks aren't too bad, but sooner or later they'll all leak around the neck.
My finishing didn't go as well as I wanted to over the weekend. What I did was on this, let's see if I can get it in here. I got the orange on the stabilizer and went over the white spots to, you know, I had some bad spots on the flaps, so I sanded those out and fixed those. And I had one on the rudder right here, sanded it out and fixed it. And this shit just takes time. John polished up my nose ring for me. I don't know. I got all my stencils cut. I just didn't get them on. I'll get them on next weekend. There's the tail.
Yeah, looking good. I didn't actually get to work on my airplane projects this weekend. I was still messing around with my airbrush and all that stuff and my compressor. About the time I got everything right, all the air leaks sealed, the compressor motor gave up. So I had to go out and buy a new compressor. And I ended up getting a 6-gallon Craftsman. I think it's built by
Charlie Chan?
Oh gosh, no, let's see, Porter Cable, and rebranded as Craftsman.
So Charlie Chan built it.
I guess, yeah. I didn't actually look to see if it says made in China on the box. I hardly even look anymore because I know it's going to say that.
Charlie Chan, China, California.
Oh, okay. But it seems to work well. Mark Williams says, I'm obviously doing something wrong. Mark, okay, like I said, like Sparky said, if you're using your real name with a space in between first and last, also sometimes if you don't use a Google email, isn't that something, Sparky?
No, I don't care what email, as long as it's a real first and last name. I'm looking at the board right here. I have to manually approve everybody on here. So it's not something that's automatic. So I do it twice a day. Once when I get home from work, and the other time when I go to bed. So if you get it in right now, if you go register right now, you'll get approved. Use your real first and last name.
Okay, Mark, give it a try now and see if Sparky can find it, and go ahead and get you going. And David Phelps, hey David, from the Raleigh-Durham area. Expect to see you in Huntersville. And another thing I worked on in the shop, I went ahead and bought another one of those little Chinese chop saws, the 2-inch chop saw, because I got one off eBay and it was obviously a counterfeit of the one Harbor Freight sells. Well, that tells you something right there, because what Harbor Freight sells is known to not be great quality. But when I picked up the Harbor Freight saw, it was obviously heavier. So it tells me it's got a different motor in it. I brought it home and it ran hot because the belt was too tight. It was so tight that when you cut the power switch off, it just stopped, like it put the brakes on. And so I went out and pulled the covers off of it and loosened the bolts at the end of the motor, slid it in a little bit. I was able to loosen the belt up significantly. It runs great now. It coasts to a stop when it turns off. And I cut a bunch of brass rod up and it ran cool. So hopefully got a good little saw. my friend Bob's got one, and he says he's used it for years and it's been fine. So hopefully the days of my tools burning up are over now. A new compressor, a new saw, and so we're good. Now I can get back to building.
Anybody out there that had watched my little project over the winter, I guess it's been a year ago because I flew that one voodoo at Brodax and crashed it. I'm going to sell all my combat planes and all the Super Tiger 35s I got. So if anybody's interested, get a hold of me. I got one that's crashed and 3 that are together. Yeah, I got one that's crashed. It's still flyable, but it's crashed. And 3, this one was crashed. Got Mike Lonky put some fast cal on it. I mean, it'll still fly, no problem. But I got 3 that are flyable and 1 that needs finished. The one that needs finished just needs the glued on, and the elevator. Oh, I lost it here. This is the one that's not finished. Needs the elevator glue, or the hinges glued on a horn, and that's this one. But if anybody's interested in those, send me a letter, a note on Stunthangar, and we'll make you a package deal on all 4 airplanes with 4 engines. I got a whole pile of C-35s and a whole pile of, well, I got 3, I think, G-21 35. I'm not going to sell my brand new in the box G-21 35. Never been started. That's new old stock.
Yeah, there's a fellow you were talking to when you first started the Voodoos about that G-21 35, and he hadn't been on lately, and I'm trying to remember his name now, but he was one of our good guests for a while. He used to come in on video, and I hadn't seen him.
Well, I'm looking at Stunthangar here. Nobody's tried to register, so.
Mark says he's going to go back and try again right now. He posted that just a minute ago. We got Mike Lonke coming in. Let me click him in. Hey, Mike.
What up, fellas?
Hey, what's up?
Not much, just another Friday evening.
It ain't Friday.
Another Monday?
What'd you say? Oh, it is Monday evening. Yeah. See, I guess I'm a little off. It's because I don't have my calendar yet. What'd you do this weekend, Mike?
Went and flew RC. Sparky, your magazine went out today, so.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
I expect you'll have it by Wednesday. I'm sure.
Right.
Not going that far.
I can make the decal for my airplane.
Okay. Yeah, we just I couldn't round anybody up to fly control line. The one guy down at Tullahoma was doing a big rocket launch down in Huntsville. He's a rocket guy, and I guess the colleges were there doing their rocket experiments, and so he was down there all day. And I'm talking about some of these cats were shooting 800-pound rockets.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Estes rockets or even LOC rockets. These are the big, 16, 18 feet tall, between 500 and 800 pounds. And, the big ones, they only shoot them 1,000 or 1,500 feet, but it's just really cool to see something that big just go that slow and pop out on 3 shoots.
It's
and
saying error detected. Have the Sparky email. I can send him a screenshot of before and after. Well, that might mean, let me see here, you might be on there, Mark Williams. Did you register with your name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did, as we told him several times to use his.
Sure, that means that he probably was already approved and never received the or activated his account. So we'll look here. Mark Williams has been registered. He registered 2013. He's a new pilot. Local time, let's see. Last active, July 20th, 2013. Is that right, Mark?
While we're waiting for him to answer, we can get Mike to tell us more about the rocket. Did you get any pictures of those rockets, Mike? Mike stepped away from the camera. I'd like to see a picture of an 800-pound hobby rocket. I've been to Huntsville before and toured the NASA facility there. Okay, Mark says you said that you're already registered.
I can delete that account if that's his. I mean, he hasn't been on April 8th. Wait a minute, July 18th, 2013 is when he registered, and last active was July 20th, 2013. So, is that correct, Mark?
Let me type a text to Minnesota Mike. Minnesota Mike, number one is a Black Widow cylinder. It's got a number one stamped on either the barrel or the face of one of the exhaust ports. It's like, we'll make it.
Well, I wish Mark would get back with us.
Yeah, he might be rebooting or something.
If that's the case, he can just request a password reset if his email is correct.
Yeah.
spcglobal.net.
So, Mike, did you get any pictures when you were watching the rockets?
No. You got confused there because we got off track. The guy that I fly with now was at the rocket launch in Huntsville, so he was not going to be at the control line circle.
Yeah.
So I didn't bother going to fly control line. Samuel and I just went to the local RC club to fly that Astro Hog that we were working on Friday night.
Right.
Blue and red one. We made it, and it lasted about 45 seconds and crashed in the woods.
Oh, crap.
We totaled it.
No.
It had a really hard right roll, and I was full left on the aileron, and I was trying to trim the transmitter at the same time, and it was banking, and I was giving it opposite, and I looked down to look at the transmitter real quick, and by the time I did, it had gone all the way over, and it was inverted going into the tree line. So we had to crawl through a bunch of thorn bushes to get the parts and pieces.
So it's all bashed up now, huh?
Oh yeah, it went to the dump today. I took all the radio gear out of it and the engine, and it went to the dump today. Not repairable, but you know, it was a $20 swap meet plane. No big deal. I'm working on another one here that we picked up at the swap meet. This one is a foam
Oh, that's a
F82
pretty cool looking
Raptor
thing. Is that an
electric
F-22?
version. Yeah, yeah. It's cool because it's electric and the motor is like mid-wing, mid-fuselage. Yeah. It's a pusher.
That's good for beginners to learn to fly with the motor protected in the middle of the fuselage like that.
This ain't a beginner plane. This thing is hot, man. It's
fast
and it's twitchy. Yeah, but they're cheap. If you've got all the stuff, just the kit is $20. This guy in Kentucky makes them for $20, which is pretty cheap. But this particular one was the Raptinator ready to run. It came with a motor, an ESC, 2 servos, and a receiver. And the guy sells these for $100. But we picked this up at the swap meet 3 weeks ago for $10. Some other guy had it. I mean, it had an inch of dust on it, man. He must have bought it 5 years ago and shoved it in his garage because it had, like I said, it had an inch of dust on it. But we paid $10 for this, for the $100 setup.
Wow.
So, like I said, it had everything. All I got to do, I had to add a battery. That was it. It had servos, receiver, ESC, motor, 2 props, push rods, horns, complete. And I started building it yesterday. I had like 2 hours in it yesterday. And tonight I'm gluing servos in and putting a receiver in. The biggest struggle was I got my first computerized 2.4 radio and figuring out the programming with the electric stuff and running the elevons. It doesn't have ailerons. It's up, down, left, right on the elevon. Yeah. Programming all that into the computer has been a real pain in the ass because I don't have a manual for the transmitter. But thank God for YouTube, man. I was running out and watching a YouTube video every 15 or 20 minutes to figure out how to program this damn transmitter. And
sorry to keep switching topics on you, but we got a guy trying to get in, Mark Williams. Mark, I think Sparky suggested maybe delete your old account and have you start over again. Anyway. So what material is it made out of, Mike? You probably told me, but I didn't catch it.
It's like an EPP foam. It's like not quite 1/4 inch, but it's just an EPP foam. So you can use foam safe CA on it. You can use epoxy on it. I didn't have any CA, and of course the local hobby shop and Hobby Lobby was closed yesterday. So I've been slamming it together with 5-minute epoxy and a hot glue gun. I actually hot glued the servos into this thing, man, if you can believe that. They're hot glued right into the wing. That's all you do. You wrap them with tape. I learned this from a buddy. You just wrap them with Scotch tape and hot glue them in. And then when you wreck the plane and you want to take them out, you just peel the tape off and all the glue comes right off the servo case too. And that's more than enough to hold these servos in on these little electrics, you know. You don't have to screw them into plywood or anything like that. So that was a good little trick. And then something else I learned too about ESCs, which I never knew because I haven't messed with a whole bunch of electric. Somehow or another, while I was messing with the transmitter, I reprogrammed the ESC because of where I had the throttle stick and the movements I made on the stick. You can like wipe out the programming on the ESC, and then you got to go back in there and turn everything on, and you use throttle stick movements to put it where you want it. Did any of you guys know that about ESCs?
No, I know nothing about this stuff. I do know that you can save once you get it like you want it. Before you do anything else, you can save the programs to a SD card, and that way you can refresh it just by plugging the card in and copying the program back over.
Well, I just learned this, and I guess you wouldn't do it on a control line plane because you don't have a transmitter. But if you turn your transmitter on and you make some specific throttle stick movements before everything is tuned in and ready to go, you're telling the ESC that you want to reprogram it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, because I had everything working, and then I went back to plug everything in and check everything, and I couldn't get the motor to come on. The throttle wouldn't work. The servos would work fine, but the motor wouldn't come on. I was like, what the hell? So I called my buddy Larry out in Phoenix. He's a big electric RC guy. And he's like, somehow or another, you got into the programming mode on the transmitter with the throttle stick, and you messed.
Yeah.
He's like, go to YouTube. There'll be a video. And I went in there, and sure as hell, the video just, you turn the transmitter on with the throttle stick wide open, and you bump it like 2 times, and then it goes beep, beep, beep. And then you do what you want to do, and then it's ready to go.
Yeah.
I'd have been lost. I had no manual or nothing to tell me. And I'm learning all this stuff with electric RC and ESCs.
So somehow you learned the secret combination of how to wipe it clean.
Well, and Larry said that happens. He's like, man, I've done it. You just happen to move the throttle stick a certain way in the right combination, and you've basically reset the ESC.
Mm-hmm.
He said it happens. And, without a manual, it's hard to do. But luckily, everybody's an expert now, and everybody makes YouTube videos. So I typed in the transmitter that I had and the ESC that I had. And sure as hell, there was a 2-minute video with a guy saying, hey, if you accidentally wiped out your ESC, this is how you fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back out and I did everything, and bam, I was good to go. But that's good enough.
I can't even count the number of things I've learned how to fix by watching YouTube these days.
I know. I mean, I thought I burned the motor up, or I thought I broke the ESC. I didn't know what, just nothing was working. I was like, hell. And then it was just a matter of resetting everything. So good stuff.
Is that Stunthangar shirt purple, or does it just look that way on the screen?
No, this is the purple one, and this is Brodak.
Oh, Brodak 2018. Okay.
Yeah, but Sparky had, I think, purple, orange, red, white, and gray last year.
Yeah.
For Nats and Brodaks. So I bought 2 purples, one for me, one for Sam with Brodaks, and then 2 oranges for Nats, one for me, one for Sam. Well, I bought him a small or whatever. It looks like a damn nightshirt on him still.
Yeah.
He's tiny, but yeah. You doing these again this year, Sparky?
There's shirts on Teespring right now.
Well, for Brodaks and the Nats on the back, or just?
I might. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'd buy 4 if you did them. I'd get 2 of each if you happen to do them.
Let's see if we got anything done on Teespring now. I think Mark might try to log in.
Yeah, I'm looking out for him. It looks like he might have gotten straightened out.
Yeah, so I'm still hanging on one there. Let's see here. Yeah, I got the red, white, and blue one. I guess I could do something on the back.
Well, I just think it's cool because it says Brodaks in the year, and then it says Nats in the year. I don't know. Did you sell a lot of those, or because I'll tell you, I hadn't seen a lot of people wearing them.
No, I didn't sell a lot of them. I didn't really promote them all that much,
Well, as soon as I saw them and you had Brodaks and Nats, I was like, yep, all right, we'll take 2 of each.
I emailed Mark a couple of days ago to make sure he had enough T-shirts. He wanted everybody that was coming to let him know so he'd bring enough T-shirts for everybody to Triple Tree.
When do I got to pay for that?
What do you got to pay for?
The Triple Tree. When do I
I
have
don't
to
know what
send them my money?
the entry is for that.
Doesn't matter what the entry is when do I have to send them the money?
Oh, when? I don't know.
Right up until you drive in the gate. There's no deadline. If you don't do it, I don't know. I wouldn't do it any farther out than any closer in than a week ahead of time. But there's time now if you were to register with them through email or on the website. I haven't done it yet either. I guess I probably ought to do that. So I'm going to go up on Thursday and Saturday, the second week.
I think we're staying Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm
I'm
not
gonna
sure.
try. I don't know. Did you all see there's going to be a stunt contest in Cincinnati? Did you see that post?
Yeah, I know it's going to be there because Buzz and Buzzers, you're the ones putting it on. I'll be
Okay.
there.
Well, I saw it today. That I think September 28th, 29th, or 27th, 28th. I saw that today. Man, since he's only 4 hours for us, and September's a good month because we don't have any contests in September other than the Detroit. The state meet is the third weekend in September.
Have you ever been to Lunkin Airport?
I have not, but that's an easy one for us to do. I was asking, it was Jerry Hopt. I don't think I know him, or if I do, I don't remember his face. But I asked about hotel information and field location and an event flyer. So, and that's the Dayton Club.
It's a Cincinnati club, but the Cincinnati club is the Dayton club. We got another guy,
Okay.
Roy Lauder, who approved, who got in. Okay, you're approved.
Hey, JP just logged in on YouTube from the DC area. Good evening, JP.
Mark Williams, yes, I think I might have registered a few years ago, but never used it. Mark, you registered in 2013, you used it once, and the last time you logged in was the 20th. That account is no more. Your new account is approved. You can get on at the bench, find the thread to this, and come in and join us.
I'll post the link for you if that'll help too. Give me 1 second and I'll put it up there.
We might have the helmet head come in.
No, he can't use this. Just gets him into the thread, but he can't get into it if he's not a member.
Haven't seen helmet head in a while.
No, I've gotten better at working the controls too. Okay, here comes the link to the thread. Mark, I just posted the link in the chat box. So if you follow that link, that'll take you to where you can click to get into this show. Okay, so you got to be logged into Stunthangar to get to that thread, or else it's invisible. I got to post to the little blue arrow, don't I? Boom, there you go. Okay, now you should be able to get it out of the chat box. Got to rearrange all my pages now. Got that, got that, got that. Okay. We got 18 watchers on YouTube right now. Mark says, I asked for a forgotten password a few days ago, but I had no emails, so I might have registered years ago with an old email address I no longer use. Yeah. Okay. Well,
because the email address you used tonight was not the same as the one that for the account I just deleted.
Yeah.
So Mark, if you go to the at the bench thread and click on the link, you can get in to this chat session, or use the link that Rusty just uh, posted there.
Yeah, I just posted the link though right above your most recent post, and if you click that, that'll take you to Stunthangar where you can log in to the video.
You have to be logged into Stunthangar though.
Yeah, I'm going to start. I was hoping to start before my compressor smoked this weekend. I was going to start silk spanning my
What?
Hyper Viper. And
What?
before I did, I wanted to look through your videos, Sparky, and watch you do a wing first. And I was wondering if you can tell me right off the top of your head what the title of the best one to watch for a beginner putting putting silk span on a wing is. Do you remember a title I could look for?
Well, I got one: how to silk span a solid wing, how to use polyspan. The polyspan and the tissue are basically the same.
Okay.
And the nobler threads, when I did the nobler build session, I have a real good tutorial on silk spans. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. Okay.
Rusty,
I know it's not, and I've seen people demonstrate it before, but I got holes in my head. Mark
you
Williams
smoked your
tried
compressor?
to.
Mark, you have been accepted. All you have to do is check your emails and log in. I've already approved your account.
Yeah, you should have an email in your box saying you're accepted.
Rusty, you smoked your compressor? Your new
Yeah,
one?
sure did. Yeah, I was getting ready to test out the airbrush, and I had a little air leak, and so I put some Teflon tape on, was screwing everything together, and turned on the compressor to pump it up and pressure test it, and it just burped and quit. So I went to Lowe's and bought another one. I wasn't gonna fuck around with it. I'm tired of my equipment burning up, so I got a brand new Craftsman compressor, a little 6-gallon pancake.
6 gallon?
Yeah, a little 6-gallon pancake.
Oh yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and it's made by Porter Cable, but it's rebranded as Craftsman.
Well, I'm still running a 30-gallon Craftsman that I bought. I got to think here. It would have been 1995, and I paid $220 for it. It's a 30 or 35-gallon Craftsman.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So it's yeah, it is. It is. 95, 15, 19. It's 34 years old
That's pretty good.
for $220, and it
Yeah.
hasn't. I mean, and I used it for a long time in the 90s, working on cars and stuff, running air tools. You know, I don't.
Mark, hold on a second. Mark
Sure.
Williams, your old account has been deleted. You can now log in. Just log in. Yeah.
I lost your picture, Mike. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Well, I still don't know how it's going to act when I put paint in the cup. It's one of the siphon type spray guns I've got, and so what I'm doing is just learning to set the pressure on it. So I've got the compressor tank pumped up to 160 pounds. I've got the regulator on the compressor set to output 45 pounds, and I've got, or no, 80 pounds, and which is the maximum my hose is rated for. And then I open the gun and let it spray air, and my inline regulator that's right behind the gun, I turn it down to about 35, which is where I'm going to try starting to spray. They say the siphons need about that much to spray, but it never goes quite to the same pressure again. And I'm wondering if it's just because I'm shooting air with no fluid, if it'll act different when I put some paint in it. We'll find out, I guess.
Has not logged in. I don't understand why is this so hard?
Take it easy, Sparky. He might not be a computer guy, man. He might, he might struggle with computers and working around on a keyboard.
Well,
A lot of people do. Just be patient with them.
Yeah.
What you got there, Mike?
Oh, what do I got? I'm peeling the Velcro off this receiver because I'm gonna double side gorilla tape it down. I'm working on RC crap tonight, man.
Yeah,
I want to fly. I want to fly this thing tomorrow. So.
Hot glue is one thing I don't have in my arsenal of glues. I've never tried it for anything.
Well, it's not real. I mean, there's no application in control line I would ever use it for. But Velcro, double-sided tape, and a hot glue gun is great for these electric foamy airplanes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat it. You can build an airplane so fast, and like I said, in most RC planes, you got to build some kind of carriage or something for your servos to go in. You got plywood or basswood, and
right.
you drill them and put servo screws in. You take some hot glue and stick it on the servo and go right where you want it. You're done, man. And it's plenty strong enough for these little electrics, And then the nice thing is, if you wreck the plane, you just peel all the glue off, or you take the double-sided tape off when you're done to put them in the next one,
Come on. This stupid computer.
We'll get you, Mark, one way or the other. You're not the first one to have trouble getting in. Don't worry.
Hey, we're going to get Gerald tonight, right? Gerald said he was coming on with some of Max's artwork, right?
That's right. Yeah, Max did some cartoons he wants to show us tonight. And I've got a sample of Gary's calendar. I'm going to show everybody what it is we're asking for pictures for. I was waiting for some more people to get here before I do.
I broke
the promise.
Ready to log off.
Didn't get anything out, like I said I would. Send me an angry text message tomorrow, Rusty, about getting the. I'm serious. Send me an angry text message tomorrow and be like, dude, get your pictures for the calendar. And,
okay.
And if I see that and it's there, I'll make sure I get it done.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize to Gary because
I believe he's watching us right now anyway. So you hear that, Gary? Michael is going to send you a picture tomorrow, no matter what.
Yes. I promise I will get it done. I'm sorry, Gary. I'm a slacker, and I appreciate what you're doing for us, but you can't do it if we don't help you out. So I'll get it done. Oh God, that means I'm gonna have to shave tomorrow and give myself a little haircut. I want to look good for my pinup.
Yeah, it wouldn't be right for you to send him a picture with you in a thong and a beard.
I tell you, I love this double-sided Gorilla Tape too, man. It works so good.
I've got double-sided 3M tape. I'm not real happy with it.
Is
it cellophane?
No, it's not cellophane.
It's
like the 3M, but the 3M stuff, I have problems with it coming off all the time. I don't know what adhesive Gorilla Glue uses, but man, it is sticky. And boy, you better be sure when you put it where you want it, that's where you want it. I'm gonna look at the plans and make sure I put this receiver in the right place.
Yeah, Gary just posted and said, we will be waiting.
Okay, Gary. Like I said, Rusty, I want an angry text message tomorrow morning.
It's on my list.
All right.
I don't know what to do for you, Mark. You know, all I can do is approve it. I just approved you. I just sent you another email. Are you using your real email address? All you have to do is go there and log in.
Receiver is about 2 inches in front of, let's see if I get that plugged in. Yes, well, I'm gonna put the receiver.
I was watching some guys on my Sportsman Channel show that I watch in the mornings at dialysis this morning, and these guys were in South New Zealand in a coastal bamboo forest or some kind of forest. I don't know, bamboo, maybe not, but in a coastal forest, and they were hunting pigs. Apparently, the explorer slash pilot John Cook. Hang on, we got more stuff with. Oh, here comes Gerald. Says, hi, Rusty, Sparky, Mike, and all of you others. We'll be on later. Just finished up outside working on the control line circle and had lunch. Otto and Max will be home in about 45 minutes. All right, we look forward to it, Gerald.
All right.
Yeah, but these guys were hunting in the South Island is what they call it in New Zealand, coastal forest, and hunting pigs. But these dudes hunt pigs with a dog and a knife. And they go down and they crawl down in holes and grab those pigs and drug them out and stabbed them. I'll be damned if I ever do something like that. That's worse than noodling catfish. Way worse than noodling catfish. Do y'all noodle catfish in Tennessee?
I don't. I ain't touching no damn catfish up in no hole, man. No, I won't. No, not me, brother. No, thank you. I had a friend I worked with from Oklahoma, and they did a lot of noodling in Oklahoma. And one of them got bit by a snake, got bit by a water moccasin reaching up in there and had to go to the hospital.
I've heard that water moccasins get in the same holes that you look for catfish in.
Yeah.
And we just got a super chat. We just got a super chat donation. Thank you, Gerald.
I want to make a statement on registering on Stunthangar. This is real simple. You have to use your real first and last name. You got to use a good email address because you're going to get a confirmation email. And if I sit and I sit there and approve you, you don't even have to wait for that. Just log in using your password that you just set up. So hopefully you can remember, your password. Simple.
Okay. Oh, he's in. All right. Thumbs up. He posted. Okay, Mark. See if you can go up and find that link I posted to the at the bench thread. That'll take you to where you can click the link to get into the video. And let me know if you have trouble with that, and I'll repost the link. In fact, hell, I'll just repost it. It's still in the clipboard. Paste and bango. All right. Click that link, and you'll see the link. It says tonight's video is found at blah, blah, blah. We'll post it. Click on blah, 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 and you'll be in. JP says, let's see, who said? Jeff Riley said that was an image we didn't need. Somebody reaching in a log and getting bit by a water moccasin. JP said they do that in Georgia.
Yeah, no Alabama. Thanks, man. I am not down with the noodling, man.
Not in muddy water where I can't see what the hell I'm putting my hand in.
Yeah, well, and I've watched guys doing it in rivers and stuff, and I saw a video of a guy getting bit by a snapping turtle. He reached up into a hole thinking he was going to get a catfish, and he got a damn snapping turtle.
Yeah.
Locked on his thumb. He pulled his damn hand out, and their big old snapper got his thumb, man. No, thank you, man.
Good. If you're down south by Florida, Louisiana, you might end up with an alligator on your hand.
You might.
I guess Mark didn't want to join us on here, but that's okay. At least he's in Stunthangar.
I bet he pops in any minute now. I got my eye out for him. So hopefully he won't be wearing a helmet when he shows up.
Well, it won't take long to. No, 2013. No, he won't.
Yeah, that's right.
Helmet Head wasn't even born then, I don't think.
Yeah, he was about 6 years old. Maybe that's all. Man, I'm starting to get out and do a lot of stuff and go a lot of places. I got sore this weekend though. I need to just calm down a little bit. I made my. Here comes Al Ferraro. Let me let Mr. Middlesex Modelers in. Hang on, Al. I'm with you. And there you go. Good evening, Al.
Not in yet.
Yeah, yes.
There. Okay.
You guys doing?
How you doing tonight?
Good. Good.
We're just stumbling around like a bunch of monkeys, trying to get a new member joined up, and just kind of looking for our groove. So, what you got for us? What you got for us tonight, Al?
Nothing. Just real active weekend. We had actually flew my half-ace stunt Saturday. Yeah, I put it on Facebook. The pattern, and with a couple of guys, a few guys came out. We were flying Saturday, and then Sunday we had the first combat contest for the year, and it was a decent turnout. Weather was great. Got sunburned. The whole
Yeah,
thing.
you do look a little pink around the face there.
Yeah. So it was a good time.
It's nice to have spring weather, isn't it?
Yeah, well, summer weather. So you go there, you put your jacket, your shirts on, you end up peeling off all the layers of clothes while you're flying.
It was 70 degrees today here.
Well, today it was in the 80s.
Yeah, I worked up a good sweat yesterday, and working out in the shop, and yeah, it's great. Warm weather will cure what ails you.
Yeah.
Or kill you.
And we had the guys from New England came down to Jersey to have some fun with us. So it was a good time. Some good competition.
I watched your videos, Al. The half A looks really good, and looked like you had some good smoking matches there too, man.
Oh
Looked
yeah,
like a lot of fun.
yeah. I didn't do well because I flew really aggressive and I hit the ground 3 times. So you can't, So, but I was having a lot of fun. I mean, those guys are really, intense flyers, and So
I love that you have so many guys when you go fly, man. You always seem to have like a good turnout.
yeah, we got a good posse. Yeah, the guys are great. I mean, we're in touch. They're calling us. They want to talk about how can we fix this, how we can fix that, whose plane doesn't fly right, how we, and stuff. I mean, I spent all winter trying to get a Fox 35 stunt to run on a Ringmaster.
I know.
Get
up on it.
To get it to run really nice, not burp real bad, and where you could do the whole pattern where where it would run like a Fox, like an inverted Fox is easy, like if you put it on an Ogler or something, but put a Fox on a profile, and that's it's a bit of a job to get that to run right.
You know how to fix that?
We finally got it to work.
You glue a popsicle stick in it?
No, we did that. That didn't work. I mean, that made the engine run erratic. It made the engine run away. It was just a matter of actually it was the tank. We used a 4-ounce plastic tank to get that working right. And the prop was critical. The best prop we ended up using was a Bali at 10.5 by 5. Extra, my friend mills the head on the Fox. He takes the wedge out of it and lowers the compression. So when it breaks, it doesn't break real hard. So we did that to it. And then I had to choke down the Venturi also. Choke down the Venturi and use an OS needle in it. So, that all, choke down the Venturi to like a 165 and use an OS spray bar. Like a 130, was it a 135 spray bar OS needle? And now it runs really nice.
Oh, you
Jake
figured
is
it out.
asking me to ask you what nitro are you running in your half-8 Pathfinder?
I'm using the same fuel I use in everything else. The Fox, my stunt ships, Power Master, the Satan's Power Master GMA 10%, 1022. That's what I was using in it. And it runs great. I put 2 flights in it. Actually, the flight that I posted, I put a flight up earlier. And the flight that I posted, right after the square rates, the wind shifted, did a 180 shift on me, and that's why I had to do the pattern, complete the rest of the maneuvers on the other side of the circle.
When the wind shifted, so it stayed over there after it shifted.
Yes.
A lot of times it's a thermal and it'll go one way for a minute and you wait it out. But
and I probably could have stayed where I was, but I didn't want to take a chance. So, but the plane it flies fantastic. Overheads, everything's perfect.
Hey, Tom,
Yes, sir.
see these 2 rolls of tape?
Yep.
This is 60 times more than your paint job.
Holy crap.
Each one of these rolls is $17.
Wow.
2, 3 rolls.
Where'd you get them at?
The auto paint store.
Oh,
what are you doing? Putting JB welding some connections on your carbon fiber tube there, Tom?
yeah, I'm making a push rod. Yes, sir. Using JB Weld.
Have you ever tried JB Quick?
JB Quick.
Don't use.
I don't care for it. I had bad luck with JB Quick, so I'll tell everybody.
Talking about the 2-part epoxy?
Yeah.
2-part steel epoxy?
Yep. JB Weld's great. It takes a long time to cure, but I tried JB Quick one time and it didn't do nearly as well as the regular stuff.
Yeah. That JB Weld is really good stuff. You use it up. Yeah, I use it inside the engine too. Yeah, Mike, part of my problem too with my plane, my combat plane wouldn't turn outside as good as inside. My push rod was bending.
Oh,
when
stick a cotter pin in there. That's what I use, kind of halfway.
Yeah.
Just put a cotter pin in.
Yeah, I think that in the past on this one particular plane, because last year I crashed. I got my best flying plane. I crashed it, and I took this one out, and I didn't work any combat stuff, and I flew this at the end of the last year and didn't realize that it was that bad when you really, when you're trying to chase somebody and you cut a quick outside and the outside wasn't tight enough, and I smacked the tail on the ground and it pulled the tail off. So.
Yeah, I either use a cotter pin, a nylon horn, works. You can
Mhm.
drill a hole through a nylon horn and run your push rod through that.
Right.
Or the RC car antenna stuff, the little plastic sleeve they make for boats and cars. That works real good as a push rod guide as well.
Hmm.
I just use carbon fiber and never need to brace it. That stuff doesn't bend, not unless you got a real long, thin one.
Yeah, I'm not putting carbon fiber push rods on combat planes though, man. It's too expensive.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
A 440 threaded rod is cheap. They're $1.88 at the hobby shop, man.
Yeah.
You just put a standoff somewhere about halfway and you're good to go, you
Yeah. I had I was flying an F2D ship with my LA on it, and that has like that 1/8 inch aluminum rod on it.
know. It's a knitting needle.
Yeah, that thing was, I didn't realize it, but that thing was bending like crazy. I couldn't, on my plane. So I took that out and I put in 1/8 music wire because it was a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the best flying combat plane I ever had. That thing was like, it had changed directions just as soon as you just touched the handle.
Yeah, 1/8 music wire is pretty tough stuff.
Yeah, that didn't bend.
Oh no, yeah, that's not bending. It's much stronger than
Yeah.
a 440 rod.
Yeah.
I use the 440 threaded rods on my foamies,
Mhm.
just because I like to have the threaded rod for the horn, or I'm sorry, the clevis at the end for adjustment. And I almost always put a standoff right on the trailing edge of the wing where the boom comes in. Just I use like I said, a piece of RC car antenna or something, or push rod guide from an RC plane, and CA it down with some thread or something. Because I do like the other version though, at the horn, where you've got, it's an RC thing to go on the servo that you can
Mhm.
undo the screw and then it slides through the brass bushing.
Okay.
Let me see. I got one here.
Well, guys, I'm gonna hit.
Okay, Sparky,
Have a good night.
for helping Mark get set up. I hope he'll log in and see us.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
See
All right,
ya.
good
You
night.
ever use these on the at the horn, Al?
What's that? Okay.
It's an easy connect, and a lot of times these are for servos.
Right.
Have you ever used these on the horn? It's kind of like an
No.
F2B.
Oh, yeah. I know what that is. Yeah.
You
And
know,
that spring clip thing.
well, there's not a spring clip. It's a press-on type washer, or there's a nylon one in there as well.
Okay.
You know what?
Okay.
Let
Well,
me let me pull out a setup so I can show you exactly what we're talking about. But I like these too because you can do everything at the horn. You don't have to get your rod the exact length. You just give it an inch over,
right.
and then you undo the Allen bolt at the horn, and you can slide the rod forward or back, and then it pinches.
Got 23 YouTube viewers. A lot of people out
Yeah.
there expecting us to perform. Thanks, all of you, for coming. And thanks for your super chat donations, too. That's great.
I saw somebody posted on Facebook. He had, back in 1970, he had a picture of him. I guess he was a senior. Yeah, I think he said he was 18 or 19. And he had 3 super Satans and a demon. He just posted that on Facebook somewhere. I forget.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That was pretty cool. Not too many people built super Satans back then.
Did they have the Scarinzi paint job on them?
No, they were like different colors, like red and blue and stuff like that. Let me see. They were, different Not the traditional.
yellow with the red and stuff.
But it's in the Miniature Aircraft Combat Association. He has like a pink one, a darker pink one, and a green one. There.
All right. I don't know if you can see this, Al.
Okay.
So the white nylon piece is for the horn. That's
Right.
a threaded bolt that goes. That's your horn.
Right.
And the white nylon piece screws on the horn.
Hold it over to your left a little, Mike. There you go.
And then this RC servo mount goes in there. Can you see the hole?
Yeah, I see the hole. Yeah.
That's where your push rod goes through, and that's locked in by a socket head on the side.
Okay.
So you're on your horn. Let me get here. You're on your horn here.
Right.
So you can, and the nylon piece is threaded, so you can move this up and down.
Right.
On a 440 bolt to get your wherever you want it, and then your push rod goes right through that hole, and you just lock it down by screwing the Allen head in.
Right.
And you lock it down, so you can use the Z bend on the other side.
Right.
And it just makes for quick, easy adjustment.
Okay. Right.
But you can buy that little piece, this little setup.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a dozen of them for like $3.
Right.
And they work real good. They work real good.
Yeah. Right now I'm using, I don't know if you ever saw Phil's planes, how he puts that like triangle on the back on the horn, and then it has like a Z bend on it. And you bend that triangle, you either open it or close it to make the adjustment on the music wire.
Haven't seen
I'll do that on half A.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's on there. So, I can't, that's what's on there now. So I can't really slip anything over it unless I was thinking about getting some brass tubing, slide it over, slip it over the rod and solder that on there, stiffen it up.
I'm not following you on the triangle.
Oh, really? I don't have nothing here. I'd have to go get a plane and show you. But it's the triangle. The push rod comes back, and right before it gets to the horn, he goes past it. He bends it up in a triangle. It goes
okay.
Up and down. So if you want to make the longer, you squeeze it. If you want to make it shorter, you open it.
Okay, I understand now. It's just a rod all the way.
Right.
It's a rod all the way.
Goes down. It goes down, and it goes past it, and then goes up and then down again. Down. So if you want to make it shorter, you open up the triangle, and if you want to make it longer, you close the triangle.
Okay, I understand. Do they stay that way?
Yeah, it works pretty good. That's not where the problem is. My problem's in the middle, because when I hold the bell crank and I hold the bell crank and it's down, and I try to pick it up like the air pressure hitting it, I'll see it arc up. The whole thing.
Yeah, you just need a standoff in the middle.
Yeah.
What size rod is it?
I think maybe it's 5/16. I think. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's not the real heavy stuff, because they bend it in the triangle. It's not real. You have to.
Yeah.
You'll
put a music wire in it. That solved it. And how'd you terminate the end? How did you get to the horn?
It has like an L through it. It comes out in an L. You put it up. You just slip it through.
Okay.
It goes through a nylon horn, like a Z bend type thing.
Z bend. Okay. Yeah. I got you.
a Z-bend in the back and the front. He has one in the front.
Okay.
So
The other nice thing about these little RC deals, because they come in both sizes.
right.
You can get them in 440s for like bigger foamies and for fast stuff that you want to run a bigger horn and a bigger rod on. But they make all this stuff in 256 too. They make this little horn in 256, so you can use a 256 for a half A, and then they make smaller, which it's probably like 27 or 30 thousandths music wire you can use for a push rod instead of having to use anything bigger,
Right.
you know, to keep the weight down. Again, you still got to put a standoff at the trailing edge or the boom to keep them from
Yeah.
flexing on you. But hey, Gerald.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Gerald.
Hi, Rusty. Well,
But yeah, you take on Phil's plane, the elevators come off real fast. It's just held with music wire going through brass tubing. So
That's how I make mine.
right, so you pull it off, and then you like you put the horn through the Z bend, line it up, and put the pin through, and that's it. So if somebody cuts your elevator off and you have a spare one, if you can put it back on and fly again.
Yeah, that's how I build my foamies. I shove a hardwood dowel in the trailing end of the boom,
Mm-hmm.
and then drill through that and use 1/8" brass tubing,
Right.
about, I don't know, 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches. And then I pin my elevator like that. So yeah, you can yank them off and put a new one on if you need to.
Right.
I think I learned that actually from Jim Carpenter and the Yankee Nipper was the way that he did that back when I was on the New England Combat News site a lot, and before Jim passed away. Because right when I got into combat, Larry and Chad said, call this guy. He makes a plane called the Yankee Nipper. He sells the ribs and everything you need and mounts. And then you call Phil and get these cores. So between Phil and Jim Carpenter, I spoke to Jim several times on the phone when I was building my first batch of combat planes. And then, I think I bought 20 center ribs from him because he made those pine center ribs with the plywood motor mount.
Right.
And he was only charging like $5 a piece for those center ribs. So I put in a big order from him. And then I bought some of his mounts that were reversible for the LA-25 and for the 40 and the 32S. They pretty much fit everything. I still got quite a bit of his stuff. And I learned a lot from him. Chad actually loaned me his videos. He had a VHS series on building combat planes. Did you ever see that?
No, I never did. No.
Chad Hill here in Nashville has that on VHS. I had to dig my VCR out of the attic and plug it in because he was like, listen, this guy that makes these planes, he made tips on building combat planes, and so I watched. It was like 4 hours of video on how to build the Yankee Nipper and tips and tricks for building combat. And he had some catchphrase. He used to say, I learned this from an old Indian friend of mine or something, or God, I wish I could remember what he said, but he was funny. I never got to meet him in person. I'm sure you did.
Well, that's what Neil flies all the time. Neil, his version of that, that's flying. And
I pretty much base all my stuff off the Yankee Nipper now. When I build foamies, that's kind of what I build is Yankee Nippers.
My friend Jim is designing his own, and we're working on those. And it actually has a square boom. He uses a block, center block, and he has like a shelf on it, hardwood block, and he bolts down a square. He gets a square carbon boom that he puts on the back of it.
Square.
Yeah, it works. It's working good. He's doing good. So we're trying to evolve that along.
I'm interested to see that, but I'm still sitting on like 5 6-foot lengths of the 404 carbon fiber that I bought from Phil. I've been making the same booms out of Phil's carbon fiber, whatever he sells for $35 a bundle.
Right.
I bought 3 bundles of carbon fiber booms from
I'll,
Phil. For
I'll, I'll go down. I'll get one and show you. You know, I have to go downstairs and I'll show you. But it's pretty interesting what he's doing, and they're flying really well too. You know, we're just
awesome.
You know,
Yeah, always interested in new stuff, man.
You know,
I'd be keen.
he's pretty good at coming at different ideas.
So do you use a lot of do you use carbon fiber spars, or has it got wooden spars, or a fabricated spar to give the strength to your foam wing?
I'm still using wooden spars.
Wooden. Yeah.
But what's Al using?
Wood and hardwood and foam wings. You know.
Yeah.
Whatever
just, they are.
Phil made some out of balsa wood spars too.
Yeah.
For a while, but trying to save weight.
I'm still using the 4-foot spars from Aircraft Spruce that Phil cuts most of his cores for, the old school cores that Jim Carpenter recommended on the Yankee Nipper. So even now, when I buy cores from Phil, I ask for the Yankee Nipper cores with those spars, because I bought 50 of them from Aircraft Spruce. I put in one order and bought 50 spars, for 25 airplanes, and I'm still working on those. Still have them.
Are these 3/16 or 1/4-inch spars? Or
no, they're not quarter. I'd have to measure them. Al, do you know off the top of your head?
No, they're like 1/8 thick by maybe 3/8 deep, something like that. 1/8 by 3/8.
I got some. I can measure one real quick.
Roughly.
Yeah, I was keen to build some more combat wings for the boys to use because they just chew through so many models. Silly mistakes.
That's what ties into the motor block. The center block that the motor mount is.
Yeah.
And the spars get tied into that.
Yeah, because I had trainings in the past, but most of my ones were all built up. But they use like a one little one.
Right. Yeah. That's where the spars go. Yeah. Well, yeah. We don't put all. We only use the 2 in the middle and 1 in the front.
Yeah.
One on the front leading edge, and then the ones in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got ones where the Russian style leading edge, where it has the two. It has 2 top and bottom and 1 in the middle. They're all. I'll grab one.
I think I got I got one out that on a plane that was busted up. I could show you.
Yeah. 3/8 by 8.
Right. That's it. Oh yeah.
They are. 3/8.
Yeah, show that.
And they're from Aircraft Spruce.
Yeah,
but I found the most
also
economical way to buy them was 50 at a time.
Yeah.
And I think they were 25 cents a foot. So each one of these is $1 for a 48-inch piece. They're $1 a piece. But with the shipping that you got to pay in the big tube, it just you buy a bunch. You don't buy.
But that's what you need, Gerald. That's the spar you need. Yeah, that's the spar you need, Gerald. That goes into the block.
Yeah. So it's like 1/8 by 3/8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll show you a core, Gerald. I've got cores here.
Do you have a block, a motor block? I have to venture down to the basement. If you want me to do a show and tell on it.
It doesn't matter. I think I've pretty much got the idea from that. But
yeah, because on that block is where you have your motor mounts come off the block.
Yeah.
Everything ties into that block. And what he does, he drills a hole in the back and he puts an arrow shaft in the back, and the arrow shaft goes to the elevator.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
Gerald, these cores from Phil are slotted for this spar. I don't know if you can see that there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
good.
Phil slots these cores for this 3/8 by 1/8
Right.
spar. Helps if you run a little.
Yeah, and the block is notched to accept that. The motor block has a notch in it that accepts that spar, top and
Mm.
bottom.
I
Yeah.
think I've got one of those laying around here.
Yeah, because traditionally I've used for the diesel models ones like that Rasputin, this model here,
Mhm.
and that uses the bolt-on bearers.
Right. Same
Yeah.
thing. That's exactly the same. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very old model and it's been beat up, but you can see where the spar crosses the nose block there
Yeah.
and the center rib. This is actually one of Jim Carpenter's Yankee Nipper center ribs. So the center rib is notched out, so the spar goes across it,
Yeah.
and then it's notched down for the motor mount.
Yeah.
And then is that got an arrow shaft? Yeah. It's in the back of it. The
So
back is drilled out. Yeah.
the center rib goes to right here. This rib, and I think it's 3/4 inch pine is what Jim Carpenter made it of.
Oh, yeah.
It goes from here all the way to the motor mount, and then you're notched for the spar. The bell crank goes through the center rib, which is pine. Now the motor mount does have plywood going across top and bottom. It's got plywood. It's not just a pine rib all the way. There's plywood on the top and plywood on the bottom. But then for the boom, there's just a hole for the that's drilled into the center rib. It goes into the center rib, and then you can just plug the boom in.
Yeah. And then
If
when
that
you
makes
yeah, and how about your elevator attachment to the boom? How do you do that?
well, and this one again, this has been repaired several times, so don't look at this as being like a premier model. But I plug the carbon fiber with a hardwood dowel,
Yeah.
drill through its way. I use 1/8 inch brass tubing, and then some thread, some spectra line with some CA on it to lock in the brass tubing, and then it's pinned. It's just
Yeah.
pinned with a piece and a little piece of fuel line on there. If you pull that fuel line off, you can pull that pin off and take the elevator right off of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks very similar in a way to some of the models I've got. Just the techniques seem like they're quite similar, but being an all foam model, it would probably be quick and like you say, you can easily repair them with some tape or Gorilla Glue or whatever. They should be easy to repair, I imagine. Another one.
Hell, even if when Sam first started smoking in and busting the wing off, it spars and everything, and we would just epoxy the wing back and the spars, and then after that dried, we put about this much of spar material on the top and bottom over the brake and just go.
Yeah.
I mean, because they were practice airplanes anyway, and he was learning. So you just glob them up with epoxy and try to reinforce the brake and get a few more flights out of them,
Yeah, because I was using these ones, which are very simple construction. They work well with diesels because there's no foam to dissolve. But the diesels, I just find, unless I've got another person that can start a diesel well, it's really hard to have a combat with all diesel engines. And I was just going to use some OS25s that I've got. And I've got a whole lot of OS25s that I'll run with a little piece part. Oh, these. I'll just use the piece part just so I've got a muffler to cut some of the noise and just use it with a remote needle. So I've got a few.
Speaking of OS25s,
You picked up some more.
3 more. One brand new in box, one mounted but not run.
Okay.
One slightly used. They were on Stunthangar. I can't turn them down, man. When I see them for, you know, $40 or $50 a piece, I'm like, okay, I'll take them all. You know, 'cause I did the RC Japan thing
Right.
about 6 months ago, and I bought just a ton of Venturis and nozzles for 40s and 25s to convert them over to control line.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And
Yeah,
I have 10 of them in rotation, you know, with my friend, you know, between me and him, we have 10 LA 25s that we
shoot.
got ready, you know, for combat. And that's what I love, that site, the Pinelands down there. But the thing I hate, it's sand. So if you
Oh, no.
put it down with the engine, you know, you have to do a major flush out, you know, like you get you can feel it, a little granule in there, you know, in the Ventura. And, you know.
Can you run a tube over the intake to keep the muck out?
Gerald,
I should have put a dark tube on the intake, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Gerald, do you have anybody? Can you get foam cores in New Zealand from anybody? Is there anyone there cutting cores for combat planes?
Most of them use the F2D style models. They use the ones with most people using the pre-bought model. These were some of the last ones that were made locally. That one's got, I think the boys made that. Robin Boys made those. But I've got a foam core cutter. I've just got to find. Hi Tom. Bushrod. I've just got to find the right grade foam. A lot of the foam's too heavy. So I have to do a little bit of searching around to get a good grade foam, and I can use my boys to help cut out some foam blanks. But I did the Mini Titans years ago with the foam wings, but that's ages ago now, and they'd all melted away from the diesel. So if I use LO25s or the old OS25, something like that, I'm not going to have problems with them eating up the foam wings.
Right.
But, yeah, I like running the diesels. I got my diesels back from Tony Elflander after I had a few of them rebuilt. So I can run diesels on some, but I just find it's not practical with me trying to start everybody's engines. I'm just trying to get my two boys to start diesels, and they try, but it's just too hard. You've really got to give them such a good whack to get them started when they're hot. But I'm going to have to run off because the bus is going to be home in a few minutes. I'm going to have to sign off and come back later when they've had afternoon tea. Otherwise, they're not allowed off the bus.
Max's artwork tonight.
Yeah, I've got some of his pictures here. I'll see if he's got any else that he can bring on, but I'll make sure they have afternoon tea first, and then I'll join you again in a few minutes. But I've got to beat the bus, otherwise I've got to go and pick them up from school. I'll take them back to school if I'm not there at the bus stop.
Oh, so, okay. Well, you better go get them then.
All right, Gerald.
Okay, so I'll catch you soon.
All right.
See you later.
After tea, that's awesome, man.
Gary Sinclair wants to know if y'all have trouble with hot fuel on foam wings. He might have been asking Gerald because Gerald was talking about diesel.
Yeah. No. I mean,
Gerald said something about diesel fuel on foam wings a minute ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't run diesels. I hate them. I hate diesels. I hate the way they run. I hate the way they smell.
I don't like diesels either.
I can't stand them. I can't stand diesel cars. You know,
I can't either. I've worked on a ton of them.
Oh, I mean, you know.
Yeah, it takes me like a week to get my hands and fingernails clean again every time I touch a diesel.
Yeah.
I like them, man. I like the smell. My dad collected them. He never flew any on RC planes or anything, but he had a bunch. He had probably 10 or 15 diesels in different sizes, and he used to run them in the backyard. And some of the smaller ones he would run in the basement in our house in Detroit. And that smell, I love that smell of that ether. And just,
really,
I don't know, man. I wish I could smell one right now because I bet it would take me back when I was 7 or 8 years old.
It must be required flavor.
The ether doesn't bother me. It's just the other smell, the oil and all that stuff that, you know, that lingering oil the after oil the burnt smell. You know how people complain about the castor smell that's sort of stays on you, but it's the diesel's like 10 times worse. But even like I said, I went through the car, worked in car dealers and stuff, and anytime we had to work on a diesel or bring it in the shop and smoke out the shop, and you couldn't breathe. Why do people buy these things? Oh, to get the good, and they rattle. The guy spends all this money on a Mercedes, but he's pulling up in his car that sounds like somebody's
Hey.
whacking with a sledgehammer.
The only diesel that I really liked smelling while it was running was I used to convert a lot of diesels to run vegetable oil.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm telling you, when it's running on vegetable oil, it smells like French fries.
That's not as popular as it used to be. I mean, I think 10 years ago that was like a big fad.
Yeah, it was. That's all right. I did quite a few mods.
Right. And the guys would put like I don't know, like
Yeah, it was like a
200-gallon tank in the back of their pickups.
it was like a $1,200-$1,500 deal.
And now you got a vehicle you can't sell to anybody.
Well, the guys that
Yeah, you go back to diesel, you can switch back, but man, you'd get about 99 to 110 miles a gallon.
Damn.
That's a big deal.
Mhm.
But it takes a lot of work to get you a 55-gallon drum. It takes you a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about my next truck is going to be a diesel maybe in 2 years. I got to wait 2 years for the next new pickup, and I'm thinking I'm going to go diesel. I don't know.
Yeah, now they're experimenting right now with the diesel trucks. They got an additive that you got to pour in.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that additive is like $78 a jug.
Yeah. You have to put that additive in all the time.
Yeah, just every time you change your oil. So you change your oil 33,000, 3,500. There you go. You got that to worry about also.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on that yet.
I keep a vehicle for 10 years, so that's why I'm kind of looking at a diesel.
Yeah. Or the Cummins diesel is the man, it's probably right now it's the top of the line on the market.
Hey man, I know I've got probably still a dozen friends that work at Detroit Diesel in Redford, Michigan, building those Cummins diesels, man. That's my home turf, man. That's literally like 2 miles
I actually used to work on Detroit diesels. That's what it was.
Yeah, the Allison plant.
And get a load of this. You ever seen a diesel? You ever seen a diesel RPM at 11,000?
I have not.
Oh boy, those are dangerous things to be around. But that's what they use on them 6-inch pumps and water pumps, 6-inch.
I got a bunch of friends that still work at the Allison Detroit Diesel plant over there in Redford, man. That's a lot of my friends' dads work there, and a lot of my friends from high school still work there.
Yeah.
You ever go on YouTube and you see the guys with the pickup trucks? They call it rolling coal, and they set their diesel.
Smoke them out.
Yeah, smoke them out. Yeah, like the guys are on the, like in traffic or something, and they'll blow past them like that, the window open, and like completely.
Or they do that to the guys on bicycles and stuff.
Yeah, right. Pedestrian. Yeah.
Some turd with his window down, blaring rap music. They'll fill his cab up with smoke.
Yeah.
How do they do that? What is the process of making all that smoke? What are they doing?
It's just a real rich mixture that that's put in. It's
But it seems like they can control it from the cab. Like
Yep.
They do it on purpose.
Yep. I think it's actually, I can't remember what it is now. Shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue.
I just watched it not too long ago on Detroit Brothers.
Yeah. Well, I know they can make a lot of power out of them by doing that. You know, a lot more. You know, I was watching stuff where a guy towed his race car to the track with a diesel. They had like some kind of Vortex twin turbo on there or something. And then he raced them. Then he would race them, the car that he towed with his tow truck. And but and that thing was like had dual stacks on it, blowing black smoke for like 100 feet, coming out of the exhaust out of the truck. Amazing amount of smoke coming out.
Hey, Rusty, did Mark ever get on?
Yep,
after
he
all
just
that?
texted me a minute ago and said he's reading posts on Stunthangar, and I just resent him the link to the At the Bench thread and told him to look for the post that I posted at 9:40, and the link to the show is in there if he wants to join us.
Okay.
Mark Williams. Yeah, Mark, I hope you'll come in with us. I don't know. Yeah. I guess he's watching us now, but yeah,
Did you fly the yellow plane?
he's reading.
Mike, did you get to fly the yellow stunt plane yet?
Yeah, I guess you missed Friday. Were you here Friday?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, so I flew it last Wednesday, and it was beautiful for about 3 minutes. It was awesome. And then the header came off the back of the engine.
Oh.
The bolt. I don't know if I forgot to snug them down or what, which that's a distinct possibility. I think maybe I didn't snug them down when I put everything in there. So yeah, I flew it for 3 minutes, and of course, when the header came off, the whole pipe tunnel, everything filled up with oil and shit, and I didn't want to fix it there at the field, so I brought it home. I got it fixed. It's ready to go again.
But you got a baseline on it then, and you're happy with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, for 3 minutes I flew it, and it flew pretty nice. I made up a set of 64s for it. I was flying it on 64-foot lines because that's what Derek told me to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I only did just a couple of maneuvers with it, and then it went blah, and I was like, oh shit, not again. Don't tell me I'm going to crash this one now. Pretty quickly I realized what was happening, so I just let it fly,
Was it really, really gunky inside the fuselage?
Oh yeah, that I mean, because it was blowing right out the rear exhaust, man. So yeah, it was pretty nasty. Took a while to clean up, but it's ready to go. Maybe this weekend. I was trying to go this week, but again, my flying buddy can't go, and the other combat guy that I fly with, Chad Hill, he's got family in town this week, so there won't be any weekday flying. I'll have to wait till Saturday or Sunday to get out and fly. Unless I get my stooge hooked up and go out to the RC field by myself, which I may do. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to work on the half-A stunt plane too after I flew it. I did a couple of tweaks to that.
Oh, so, you got to fly that too?
Yeah, I flew it the same day as the yellow one. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that. I was running about 4.5, 4.6 second laps with the AME, with the 049 AME on a bladder. But I didn't get to stunt it out because the outboard tip was up pretty high.
Right.
So I never took it over inverted because I didn't know what it was going to do. So
how long the lines?
I don't know if it was tip weight or a wing warp because I never got to flip it over and see what it was doing. But I added some tip weight and I'll fly it and see if that fixes it. If that didn't fix it, then I know I got to twist the wing a little bit.
Yeah. How long the lines are you flying on?
I was running 42. I started with 42.
Yeah. Okay.
Started with 42.
That's pretty good.
And my handle spacing was too much too because it was pretty twitchy. So I need to bring that down as well.
Yeah, that's a little bit. Yeah, I'm going about 4.41 with mine. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I haven't even got to do a loop with it yet, so
Yeah.
but I'll get a little further along next time. I didn't want to ball it up the first time I flew it, so as soon as I saw it was tip high,
Right.
I was like, and I really had to restrain myself because, you know, as a combat guy, you go, yeah, I can get it over and get it back, man. It's okay, I can do it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm just gonna end up wrecking it. So I showed some restraint, which is usually something I don't have, and
Well, when you got it in the air, you know, that's a big plus, you know, getting it in the air, the engine, you know, get a feel for the engine and stuff.
I think it's going to be plenty of power.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's going to, I'm not going to have to go to the Pro Feed or anything like that. The AME is going to be the power plant. Just trimming out and, you know, get it over inverted a couple times and then figure out what I need to do from there.
I mean, mine's all basically stock and I'm running a muffler on it and it's, you know, it's running, it has more than enough power, you know.
Awesome.
And I'm just using 10% fuel, the same fuel.
Oh, I'm running, I think I was running 25 in it now.
Okay, now I'm using 10%, you know, the Power Master, and, you know, it just seems to be working. Because it's nice when you can pull all the, you know, for all the models. I try to tune everything for the same fuel. This way you just bring 1 gallon and, you know, 1 fuel to the field and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's what I prefer too, except for the half A's. I do take 35 out for them.
I think
Well,
that
it's reasonable.
reason better, just they needle a little bit better on higher nitro is all.
Yeah. And mine's a little bit on the fast side too. So I, you know, I don't want it to go any faster.
Did you see T-Bone this weekend?
No, but I texted him. He was, he had some, fundraiser. His son plays ball, so he had to go to a fundraiser. He wanted to fly combat Sunday, but he couldn't get away.
Yeah, once in a while he pops in over on YouTube, but he doesn't usually come in here with his camera. So once in a while.
Yeah, he's, you know, the weather after this weekend, he'll be getting the itch to come out again and fly. He was out a few times this year. He came out with it. Not too many guys like flying in 30-degree weather, though.
Hell no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
No.
Oh, Ronnie Layton just posted, Rusty, I hope you feel better. I do. Thanks, Ronnie. I do. Actually, I've been feeling great, but I went out and did so much this weekend. I've made myself sore, but I guess that's probably a good kind of sore. You know, so I just need to take it easy a little bit and not wear myself out. I postponed tomorrow's fly-in trip until Thursday to give myself a break. I've made my good leg sore now, so we're getting there slowly but surely. But I appreciate your well wishes. And Will Davis is out of the hospital.
oh, that's good news.
Shout out to Will. Glad you're back home, buddy.
Cool. It's always great when someone makes it out of the hospital.
Yeah, he was a sick boy, but I was worried about him. Yeah, he fought it off. He's all right. I think he's got some recovering to do. A couple of contests coming up, so hopefully some people will help him out, so he won't have to do much heavy lifting. Actually, he's the contest director, and the event directors are the ones that do most of the hoofing it, most of the footwork. So, you know, he can meet and greet and be a spectator.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first event I'm gonna be at is the first weekend of June. So I got between now and June to get practice.
Oh, Leonard Burrell says, "Hello, gentlemen. I'm late tonight, building day. Building day and night. Finished half a stunner for Brodak's final weight, 6.7 ounces and 24-inch wingspan. That's pretty damn good. It's a half-size Fancherized twister at 24-inch span, 6.7 ounces. That ought to do pretty good.
Who built
Got
that?
a big wing.
Came in late.
Leonard Burrell.
Len Burrell built a 6-ounce half-A airplane.
That's too much.
6.7 ounce half-size twister. Yeah.
Holy cow! He's gonna kill us, Al.
What kind of engine you got on that, Lynn?
Yeah, what's the power there, buddy? And also, did you get your plans for the Thermic 20? They went out, I think they went out Friday or Saturday, but they're going to Canada, so who knows? 7-ounce half-A airplane.
Yeah, mine's all in at 12.
I'm 13, Al. I thought I was doing good at 13.
Yeah, but you got a big plane. I mean, my flight streaks, when they're first built, weigh about 7 ounces,
Yeah.
but that's a smaller. I think that's a 27-inch plane, actually.
Yeah, mine's all in at that without fuel. You know, but that's ready to go. But it flies really good. It has a good feeling on the end of the lines. It feels real good.
Yeah.
I messed around with the handle spacing, and I got it locked in now. But that's not going to be that's going to be my backup plane. That's
Your backup.
we're in a process of building. It's called the Mirage. So,
Well, what's that all about?
like my friend, loves to build and cut stuff out. So he's cutting out all the parts, and we're going to go over there and assemble everything. And I'm going to go over there and put them together. And it's just something to be different. We're both going to have both half-A Mirages, because the Pathfinder I didn't build, so I can't get BLM ports on.
Okay. All right.
So that's
And what is the Mirage? Is it a profile, full fuse? How many pairs?
it's I think it's a full fuse. I didn't even see the plans to it. I'm just saying, yeah, whatever. Let's do it. Foam wing, full fuse,
Flaps
inverted engine.
or no?
Right here.
Flaps or no?
Yes, flaps. Yeah.
Flap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What's the wingspan?
It's almost identical to the half-A Pathfinder.
Okay, so it'll be full symmetrical and same at the root, same at the tip.
Well, it's not. It's the wings aren't symmetrical. It's one's on the Pathfinder. One's 3/4 inch longer than the other. This one's going to be a half-inch longer than the other. The inboard's going to be longer by half-inch.
How about the root and the tip? Same cord, or does it?
I haven't even.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, I said, we're just going to have a night, weekend where we glue it all together and then take it. And then I'm, going to paint mine and he's going to do his.
Awesome. I love this, and everybody's like digging deep, man, and doing different stuff at this half-A event.
Oh yeah. Well, well, I had to get the power, I wanted to get the power plant, the engine part figured out. So we can do that,
I think we're going to see a lot of different approaches to
Steve's trying to get in.
what it takes to win half-A stunt. You know what I mean?
Hang on, I'm sorry. I was typing over there at the at the box. Thanks for letting me know, Al. That's Gerald. Okay, shoot, it didn't come in. Hang on, Gerald.
Oh, you got a lightning bolt.
Steve's got something. He's got a
Here we
McCoy.
go. Okay, now you're in.
He's Mike.
Who is that? Is that Max over there?
Oh, there's Mix is getting
You're
it up.
muted, Steve.
Hold on, let's see Max's cartoon work here. Let's see his artwork here.
Max is getting his car.
Max is getting his cartoons ready.
But you wanted to just show them your badges, didn't you?
Yeah. So we've got the 70th Nationals.
To hold it right up to the camera.
Keep it steady. Don't move it around. Gotta keep it.
Let me click present to all too.
Back it up just a hair. Back it up just a hair. There you go. That's a nice button.
Yeah.
And then you got the
Okay, yeah, it's got a couple of planes on it.
71st Nationals.
Pull it back away from the camera a little bit to focus.
It's a little blurry.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
blurry.
good. That's about it, I think.
Can't make that one out. I think you spilled too much diesel fuel on it.
Yeah, right.
Can you turn it around a little, Otto? Looks like the plane. Yeah, I can't see the plane properly. It's just a funny color. There's not enough contrast.
I know,
think.
there's not enough contrast. But yeah, anyway.
You were flying.
We were flying on Sunday, and
you were training a young guy to fly, weren't
yeah,
you?
I was training Xavier, who's 4, and I helped them fly, and yeah, I've helped him a few times.
Can you turn your camera down a little bit, Gerald? Because the box. There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Now we can see his face. There you go. Go ahead, son.
Well, I've helped him fly a few times, and I reckon he really loves to fly, and yeah.
Yeah, there's another kid's. He's so short because he's only 4. It works well with Otto helping him because Otto's a little bit shorter. Otherwise, I get a sore back bending over trying to help.
Got the extra ones.
He's 4. He's 4 years old. You got a 4-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, Otto's been helping him learn to fly. Yeah, a 4-year-old in our club.
What model were you flying with him, Otto?
Showman.
Yeah, with a little diesel
A
on
little
it.
diesel on it. So.
Yeah. And you previously helped him with the Sportsman too, haven't you?
Yeah.
Another little 1.5 cc or 09 size model.
Yeah,
So,
it's hard to help those little guys, man. You got to bend over. You're all hunched over down here like this, and it's hard for us old guys.
yeah, very hard for us old guys. Yeah.
Yeah, for the tall guys especially. Well, that's great, Otto. You think he'll start competing? Is he going to keep it up? Is he the son of another modeler or just a kid who was there?
Grandson.
Yeah. You've got another the same Pep's got an older grandson that's actually getting a lot better now with his flying. All right.
But yeah,
that's good that you got some other kids to fly with. Teach them. Don't teach them all your tricks and secrets. Just get him flying, but don't teach him everything because then he'll be beating you soon.
Well, the only thing which he used to love to do, and he still does a bit, is he loves it when a plane crashes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He likes that, huh?
That's one of Max's cartoons. I don't know if you can see it, but that's actually the theme of one of Max's cartoons. He actually said, "I love to crash planes." That's supposed to be little Xavier. Little Xavier would be most upset if he knew that Max had made a cartoon of him doing that.
Crash planes. That's awesome.
He's really good at that.
Okay.
I'll grab Max. Dad can show you the cartoons. Yeah. And I'll grab Max and he can talk to you about his cartoons.
Yeah, that's another one of Max's creations. Henry's been flying indoors again with the smashed up room.
Yeah, that's me flying inside of my house.
Scarinzi used to do that. Used to make flyers and all the artwork and stuff like that. And, when he was selling his Scarinzi engines and stuff like that. But yeah, it's cool stuff.
Hey, what you should do is, Gerald, is send them off to Stunthangar. See if they'll put them in Stunthangar.
Yeah, I'll give that a go. I'll see if Max will come in and talk about some of his pictures. He's just prolific as a artist or illustrator. He just loves to draw.
When we get through, I gotta try to remember to show this. This is Gary sent me a calendar example of what he did for his club. It's in a little CD case, and it's pretty cool. I'll give y'all a look at that later when we get through watching Max and Otto's stuff.
Yeah. Now, Max, do you want me to hold up the pictures and you can talk about them?
Oh, first we've got to show part 1 of that one.
Okay. I'll show the young Xavier flying.
Right. There's this one where
I'll hold it up. You
Yes.
talk about it.
This is where, yeah, these two go on holiday, an old couple. The first guy says, "Hey, this ain't a holiday without control line." And then he says, "It's funny, you know, it's got no people on it." And then the wife says, "Is I, how did he guess?" I said he was on a desert island. The next part is when he realizes that it's like a huge controlling circle, and then from the suitcase in the first part of toy plane falls out, and then and she doesn't realize, but he's actually going to
Fly control line on his vacation. Yeah.
Did she say damn? Is
Do
she
that.
saying damn?
And that was the one with flying indoors. We saw that one, and this is another recent one he just drew where the
A
chips.
plane is coming in.
Yeah, and he says maybe it's a
Chastening. Hurry up, get out of the way.
They've both experienced that with the motor's too rich and it comes in to say hello. So
We've all been there.
yep,
Yeah.
and what does this one say?
Yeah, Gerald, I think that you need to send some of them off to get a hold of Chris Rudd or whatever and have them put them in the Stunthangar magazine. They used to put them
You
in
mean
a lot of the different
Stunt
magazines,
News.
but
Stunt news,
Stunt
man.
News, Steve.
you don't see nothing like that anymore.
No.
No.
Schultze did some brilliant cartoons in the past, and you know, it's sort of it would be nice to have a few other bits of art related to control line. What was this one, Max, with the green plane? And he said,
It does not run on diesel.
"Oh, and he's caught fire or something, eh?"
Yeah, it's because it's one of those jet planes, you know, with the real
Oh,
jet.
a pulse jet model. Oh,
It does not
okay.
run on diesel.
Hey,
Yeah.
now don't be dogging Pulse Jet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he must have been watching your videos, Mike.
Don't
Yeah.
make it Pulse Jet, Otto.
He must have-
What's this one?
Yeah, you see, this baby brother is in this plane with his bigger brother, and his mother comes along and says, "I thought when you were going flying with us, I had something different in mind."
Oh, so he's going to fly with his baby brother as the pilot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, that was Otto a few years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Otto, that stuff is awesome, dude. Those are
That
great.
is.
It would help to present a little more for us if
Yeah.
you did them in color, not just in pen, because it's a little hard to see them
Yeah.
when you're moving around on the camera a little bit. So
Yeah.
let's get a little color in there next time.
Yeah, he did some color
awesome.
pictures as well, didn't you? Yeah. I'll have to dig out some of your nice color pictures where you colorized them. And I'll try and post them on Stunthangar.
You should. Every one of them. All of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
Otto, I'm
still
gonna make
think
you
that
Need to make some bumper stickers.
yeah.
the magazine, that one where you're running from the airplane,
Yeah.
for the
That's a great
Pampa
one.
magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause-
Chris Rudd is the editor or whatever. Now I know he'd put them in there.
oh.
And then here's my latest one. Don't walk on the lines.
Like a top hat.
We could all use that sign.
Uh,
Yeah, he just drew that while we were talking. He was busy drawing away, but yeah, Max is very prolific.
How old are you guys now?
That's neat. That.
How old's
Yeah.
Otto? Otto, how old are you?
Well, Max is 10 and Otto's 11, but you'll be 12 soon.
Second.
Max, don't make fun of Paul Jets, because if you ever come to the States, I'm gonna make you fly one.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you can't
thanks a lot,
make
Paul.
fun of the Pulse Jet guys getting burned up and setting themselves on fire. Because when your dad brings you to the States, when you guys come to the National one year, I'm gonna put you in the circle on one, and you're gonna have to fly one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I'm serious. I'm serious.
we'll chain you down. We'll chain you down with a swivel on the center of the circle so it won't fly off with you.
Yeah, we'll put an anchor on your foot so you
Yeah,
don't
that's
fly
right.
away with the airplane.
Yeah, well, you flew a combat wing on the weekend, didn't you? You went well, but you lost it in the wind in the end, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's our presentation anyway.
All
Yeah.
right. Thanks.
Excellent work,
That
man.
was good.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
See ya.
While we're doing
Tight lines.
presentations, let me show you what I got. Let me see if I can do myself on present all. Present to everyone. Okay. Gary Sinclair sent me a example of the calendar he's making. This is the one he did for his Blennerhassett area RC club, and so that's the front cover of it. And it's actually, I took that front sheet out. It's got a poem on the back with a RC plane. But anyway, let me open up the CD case. If I can do it without spilling it. Okay, that's basically what each month looks like. And on the back, it has the month where you can take notes and put names, dates, and things like that on it. So it's got a picture like that for each month. And the backs are all like that. And so he's got a pretty good picture, and it's got the pilots and builders' names and name of the plane on here. So this is 2018 calendar. No, this is 2019 calendar. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That looks like a control line circle there. I didn't actually look that close. Nah, it's RC. They're standing in front of a runway. So that's basically what we're looking for. I like that PT-19.
Mm-hmm.
And there we have it.
Cool.
And the CD case just folds up like that. So anyway, thought I'd show you that. So that's what we're sending pictures to Gary for.
Hey, Steve Hines,
Yeah.
ask me how the Astrohawk flight went.
How'd the Astrohawk flight go?
About 45 seconds.
Well, the wing foam on it?
No, I took off and it had such a hard right roll to it. I was like full left aileron just to keep it straight, and I was trying to trim it on the transmitter, and I looked down at the transmitter to hit the trim button.
No.
And by the time I looked back at the airplane and saw where it was was inverted and like 20 feet off the ground going into the woods, man. And it went full throttle right into the woods, man. Boom.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
It went to the dump today.
Oh.
It's all good. It was $20 swap meet plane.
Swap meet special, yeah.
Oh well, that ain't so bad, Dan.
We had zero time in it.
Yeah,
We had a
that'd
few
be-
hours putting all the radio gear and the engine in it, and whatever, man.
What
What do
you
you got there,
Al?
Al?
This is the square boom. See, the block runs from front to back, and then the boom comes down on top of it.
Hold it up.
Yeah, hold it up.
Okay. Oh wow! Look at that.
It's a square boom, and the whole block, the motor block, runs from front to back.
How far?
What's that?
Okay, so the center rib and the motor block is that part that's angled up right over under the boom there.
Yes, and it goes right through the wing. It's
Okay.
Half eight.
block all the way one piece, and then the boom just bolts down on top of the back block.
It bolts down. There's no wood going through the boom. It's
Nope.
just notched out for it.
It's bolted on.
Wow.
You know.
Is that a 25 size?
Yeah, like 25. Yeah. We're
Wow,
gonna.
that motor's really hung out there, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It has. Yeah. Had to do that because the boom is so long. It turns. It's so sensitive. We got to make the boom smaller.
Smaller. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But and then this is Gerald there yet?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's 1/8 tubing on either side of the elevator, and then this is the boom is slotted with plywood there with 1/8 tubing on that, and
Okay.
it comes off. So the 1/8 tubing, 1/8 tubing, 1/8 tubing there, there, and then this just slides,
There's
between all three of them and connects them.
so there's 3 pieces of tubing, 1 in the boom and 2 on the elevator to connect all 3.
Correct.
Okay. What are you using? What do you got? 2 wheel collars on there for the horn on the push rod?
Yes. Yeah.
1 on each side. Okay. Yeah, that's slick, Al. That's really slick.
So we're
Is that going to be your slow combat?
yes. Yeah.
Stop saying slow combat. Slow combat's dead. It's
Well,
speed limit combat.
But,
What?
this is what we're trying to evolve. They fly really well.
Now, what's it called,
Show
Mike?
me the
Not so
bladder.
fast combat?
Speed limit.
Oh, speed limit.
Speed limit. There is no slow combat anymore, Steve.
Or,
It's
well, they
dead.
call it
29 is dead as an official
speed
event.
limit,
No more.
or the other is super slow.
What's Al? Show me the bladder compartment. It's in front of the leading edge.
Yes.
Or in front of the spar.
Yep.
It's in front of the spar. Okay.
Right. It was redone because he made them too small the first time. I couldn't get enough of fuel in it. So
Okay. And
I had to cut them out and do them over.
how many squares are the wings?
Oh, I don't know. I gotta measure it.
Is that one of Phil's wings, or is that something you did?
No, it's my friend. It's my friend cut it.
Oh, okay.
And that's a 25 sized airplane, right?
Correct.
So it's
Yeah.
probably
But
about 400 squares, maybe a little less, or
yeah. I'll get it. I don't think I have. Do I have the tape? Yeah, here I got it. Oh wait, this isn't no good. I don't think I have a tape.
I like the square boom deal. I think that's a real easy assembly.
Yeah.
And the way the stabulator goes on is pretty slick too.
We were having some problems too with the arrow shaft. Like spinning in the block sometimes.
I'll have to get a picture.
Well, a square tube will definitely knock that down, man. Because I mean, it's square, you're going flat to flat and bolting it on. And I guess too, if you broke a boom or really toasted a stabulator, you could just unbolt the boom and put a whole new boom assembly with the stabulator on it.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You just unbolt it and put the new one on, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. What are you doing for a lead out guide on the end?
It's a piece of plywood.
Piece of plywood, a little bit in. Now, are you doing tips on the wings? Just some balsa sheet?
Yeah. It's just plywood.
You're doing it's plywood. Okay.
Yeah. Light ply.
And then the bell crank mount goes directly through the center rib, correct?
Yeah. And not all the way through, but yes.
Yeah, that's a slick little design, man. I like it.
I'll have to.
10, Al. I'll take 10.
Yeah.
I'll take 10 kits.
There is a wood sleeve. There is a wood sleeve in this part inside the room.
I was wondering about that. Okay. I was wondering about that. So yeah, that'll stiffen it up a little more. Okay, now I'll take 15 of them.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you. But now they're still not perfected, but we're trying to. They're almost there. But you have to have a good strong 25 on it.
I'll try to get a picture or something. Dick there built. He calls it the Bumblebee.
That's Cartier.
Huh?
Cartiers?
No, Dick Imoff.
What's that?
A guy named Dick Imoff.
Okay.
He did the same thing. He's got an airplane done with square tubing.
Right.
It's got a 46 on it. and it's a big piece of square tubing, and he just kind of bolted on a fuselage to look like something, and then on the same thing they bolted a rudder and
Mhm.
the elevator and stuff in it. You can't believe how good that airplane flies. There's no flex.
Now, is he active?
Yeah.
Because I saw him, he was doing some pretty cool stuff with some Fox speed engines. And I never, like he was doing some pretty cool. See, he's a good machinist, right, or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
So,
Yeah.
but
Hell,
then we never saw him. I thought he was going to go to Brodak, and we never heard anything, how they ran or how fast
he
they went or anything.
he was at Brodak 2 years ago. He
And
was at
but he never
Brodak
did.
2 years ago,
Yeah.
and then he was at the Nats last summer, but he left like 2 days in because he had problems with his knee.
Okay.
But yeah,
He was doing some really cool stuff to the Fox engines. I was hoping to see it go.
Yeah, I gave him a piston and liner out of a 36X or 30. Yeah, I think it was 36. It was the old bypass combat motor.
Right.
Because I got one from that guy in Australia.
Garbage. Yeah.
So I took that brand new piston and cylinder out, gave it to him, and he put that in a Fox 35.
Yeah, but he put a KMB 40 piston in, piston in
He did that too.
I want to see that go. Paul Smith banned it. I didn't care. I'd like to see it go.
Yeah, the Fox one, my brother took to the Nats, and then we tried to tell him what RPM to launch it at and stuff like that with the tank we had set up. It went okay, but he just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He makes a tank, and I'm trying to think. I think they do it down in Texas, where it's a racing tank, but once you set the needle, it doesn't change because instead of going backwards, it flips forward somehow, and the fuel goes to it. And we were always going to do that for the 25 sportsmen at Brodak and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We never flew because these ones you don't have to put up rich and then they go lean at the end of the run. You
Right.
set the RPM and that thing will run until the tank is out, completely the same RPM.
Yeah.
But so we don't know really. We timed it at home and it was 100 and he was within a mile an hour or what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting there in, I don't know, Missouri or whatever, where they ran them that time.
Okay.
And with Clarence Lee was running one. And our timing, we were within a mile an hour of that. But wanted to get it, to the Nats on their timer and see what it really went. But he still has it.
Yeah, and like I said, I was really, we're really interested in his, his stuff that he was doing, and we wanted to see it work, and because that back then when all the, it was all the rage and everything, and
Yeah,
he was putting out some good pictures.
It had the old 35 blackhead or something crank in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he got that to go in somehow and do.
Yeah,
it was cool stuff what he did. Yeah, Paul Walker or Paul, whatever, said he couldn't put it in there, so he's like, screw it. But it's two Michigan guys that don't get along.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty cool. No, but I got my 35.
Yeah, so that's a lightning bolt, right?
Yeah, it's brand new.
Right.
$45.
Oh,
so
that's good.
I'm gonna pull the piston out of this and stick in one of my older McCoys.
Right.
It's a brand new piston. I think I can. Hopefully it'll.
Did you get the ring, the piston and stuff?
Not yet, but I got a 40. Here's a 40 lightning bolt.
Right.
And we got the 21 series, a brand new 40 that the piston will go in that one.
Right.
So
the lightning bolt, like I said, you got to get a brake hone and put a light, just very lightly cross hatch on it, and then you got to get the Series 21
Piston, yeah.
piston, right? I think you got to open up. You use the same wrist pin that the original wrist pin off of the engine. Got to open this up like 3 thousandths, the hole in the piston.
Yeah, that's why I had to do that.
You need the piston and the ring, and I ordered these. I told when I spoke to Makoa, they said they got hundreds of them. They're plenty in stock.
Oh, that's a very easy conversion then.
I'm excited about turning a 40 into a one of them.
Okay, a lightning bolt 40, yeah.
A lightning bolt 40, and then I got.
Before you take it apart, make sure they got the parts.
No, we bought a brand new Tester Series 21.
Okay.
For $10.
Right.
So I have $35 into that one, and then 45 plus whatever it costs for this one.
I mean, I have my 35 lightning bolt on a Ringmaster, and it runs so good that my friends, like I was telling you, my friend's Fox 35 Stunt on a Ringmaster ran horrible. So we applied everything that we learned from the McCoy to the Fox, and we finally got the Fox running, really good. But it's still not as good as it's probably 80% of what the McCoy is, even still. And it's the best running Fox on a profile I ever heard. But the McCoy is amazing.
Yeah, I got a 29 on a profile, and it's really.
And the prop that you want is a Bali 10.5 by 5.
10.5 by 5. It'll turn that big of a prop.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wow.
That's the prop. And the Ringmaster will do. You want it to do. It'll 4-stroke doing. I fly it on 58-foot lines, and it does 4.9 lap times.
Nice, Gerald.
What do you got, Gerald? That's a Ringmaster with.
Yeah. One of the ready-to-fly Ringmasters. I put it together on Saturday night while watching TV for Alina. She was given a kit, and I didn't finish it till 3 in the morning though. But I didn't know what this KMB would go like. But I was surprised with how nicely it ran. It's at the Dykes ringed 35.
Oh yeah,
that's a powerful motor.
Powerful motor.
What's the airplane, Gerald?
It's just a standard Brodak Ringmaster.
The ARF.
So, yeah, it's the ARF. So,
how did you get your hands on that?
One of the guys in our club who's given up flying, he's been giving away all his fuel and his gear, and he gave the ready-to-fly kit to Alina, my wife Alina, and said, "You build it, fly it, because I can't fly anymore. His balance is gone." And so,
are there a lot of Brodak kits in New Zealand and Brodak ARFs there?
Not a lot. I think this one was brought in a few years ago. The tank was already a bit rusty. It must have been sitting around a while, and his health didn't improve.
I guess my question is, what does it cost to get a Brodak ARF to New Zealand? Is it even economical to get a kit or an ARF? I mean, a box that big shipped.
One guy called Win Robbins was bringing in lots of them. He was bringing in batches of ARFs and selling them on to other modelers. And there's still a few of those hanging about. He had friends in the States, and he was sending out bulk shipments into New Zealand, whereas to bring it in, we might be spending, I think, going on the size of the box would probably be about 100 US to ship it into New Zealand. The normal kit is about, like when I got on my Vector kit, it cost about $60 US to ship to New Zealand.
For a kit, and then 100 for an ARF.
I think it's around 100 for an ARF. So,
wow.
It's
so
expensive.
The guy that was bringing them in, was he bringing in 10 or 20 of them at a time to
yeah, big batches. Yeah, I think he was bringing in container loads of gear, and he might have been amalgamating it with other guys. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask around and see if there is anybody still doing it, still bringing in ARFs. But it would be nice to bring in an SV11 or one of the other, the T-Rex or something, one of the ARFs that Brodak sell. It would be neat. But the fact that you can throw them together so quick, it wasn't that badly made. Looking at it, I
No.
did it and then went over all the joints with epoxy just for security, and
Yeah,
it went together
sure.
very smooth.
Well, you probably have one of the few ARF Brodak planes in New Zealand. Then I think that's something that's probably pretty hard to come by. You know.
Well, there are a number of people flying the Noblers, the top flight Nobler ARFs, and I've seen a few of the other ones around here, and there are those that have brought in models from the Cinco, the Max Bs and things like that. There are quite a few of those that people have brought in at great expense to themselves because they want to be competitive.
Oh,
So,
those Max Bs are crazy expensive, man.
yeah, there are people that have done it though. I know two people that have done that. I couldn't afford to do it, but yeah, there are those people that are that dedicated.
Just the airplane itself is, I mean, it's about $300 US just for the airplane, right?
Yeah.
A Max B altogether would be about $3,000
Oh,
more.
maybe I'm mistaken on what I'm talking about then.
Yeah, I know they're horrendously expensive, but we've got a couple of guys that are really that level of competition. They both flew at the world champs that were bringing in that
Okay,
style
we're
of
talking
model.
different type of airplane then.
Mm.
I'm talking.
Eagle-
There's another ARF out there that comes from Japan that's about $300 or $350.
An ARF?
Yeah, it's an ARF airplane. There was a link posted on Stunthangar not long ago. It's not the Max B. I was confused on what I was talking about. It's a $300 to $400 Japanese ARF.
Yeah, I know. Inya's got a whole lot of control line models, and I think some are ARFs on their website now. Very few engines on their website, but Inya have got all these control line models on there currently.
Yeah, I think
Steve,
they're
I'm
only
gonna
going
have to
25 size though.
I'm gonna have to get back to you on exactly what the model was, but it was a full size built up stunt ship, but they were $300 or $400 US, and then
Hey,
the
fellas, I
shipping.
gotta get going.
The shipping was quite a bit.
We'll see you, Tom.
Hey,
All right, take it easy, Tom.
Yeah. See you next
I was
week.
going to tell you about my flying this weekend.
Okay.
Okay. You said. Yeah, I got to test out my new eyes.
Oh, after the eye work, did you have an operation, Steve?
Yeah, I had cataracts taken off my eyes, and I don't get like vertigo now when I go up over my head. When I lift my head back fast.
Wow. I guess we'll see you in the circle this summer, buddy.
Yeah.
Maybe. I flew Samantha's Vector, her electric Vector that she flew while you sit down there, Rusty, when we were North Carolina. So it has a battery charge, and I didn't want to storage charge it, so I figured I'd fly a friend of mine has a field there. Pat flies with Dick. He flew it once, and he didn't do much with it. He goes, man. He goes, now this I need my plane to turn, better and stuff. And he goes, that one really turns. I went out there to try to fly that stupid thing. That thing is so tail heavy or tail back or whatever for the balance. I couldn't even fly the dumb thing. I tried to do a loop and it stalled it going through and it was so touchy. How she flies an airplane that's that touchy, I have no idea.
Were you using the same handle?
Yeah, everything. I mean, it was just if you twitched your hand, that son of a bitch an airplane was going on, and I'm like, oh my god. And what's really crazy is though, on one of her other airplanes, Derek Barry did some trim work on it. We got it back, and she's like, I can't fly it because it's so unstable. She goes, I can't fly it. So I can't even imagine then how Derek Barry must fly an airplane, because she could barely fly a trim plane from Derek Barry. He moves everything so fast. But yeah, with Samantha's plane there, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. The other thing is that airplane, I think, really pulls. And when she flew it Saturday, she goes, I can barely fly this airplane because it has no pull compared to my her world championship airplane. After I flew that thing for 5 minutes, my hand was so tired on that thing pulling. I'm like, I don't even know how she flies that bigger airplane. My fingers and stuff are so tired from flying it. So it's just, I don't know.
The other plane's like a 60 size plane, right?
Yeah, or 6. I'm gonna have to fly that 60 size plane once to see how much pull it really has.
Well, I got a Buccaneer that weighs 85 ounces. You could warm. you could get your arm in shape for flying that.
85. I have that kit, Al. I've got a profile 740p Buccaneer.
Yeah.
Allen Brickhouse kit. Is that the same one?
It's a modified one, yeah. Yeah.
Did you build that?
No, I bought it. It's beautiful looking plane, and it has it's actually the worst. It was 85. It was so touchy. I put nose weight in it to calm it down. I had to put 3 ounces of nose weight, but I took it out. It's about 82 ounces now. But it was
what engine? What engine?
46 VF. I showed it to you guys a few last year. It's a beautiful plane. It believe it or not,
it being over
good, except it hunts a lot. I can't understand it. It really hunts.
Are the hinges taped?
No, they're not taped. But what's funny is I could fly the plane, right?
Yeah.
Take off beautiful. If it starts getting windy, it hunts all over the place. Soon as the engine shuts off, the plane glides beautifully, rock solid. And I mean, it doesn't drop like a brick. It glides gracefully like it's a feather, and it's rock solid. But
yeah, upthrust
running, I had that on a Nobler. Everybody tried to fly that thing, and it was all over the place. I mean, you couldn't control it. It would just hunt, going straight level and everything.
Right.
And Gary Lutz there told me, he goes, the elevator at least. He says, tape it. He goes, I do both. We taped it. That is the most stable flying airplane now that I got. It flies so good. But without that tape, that thing is all over the place.
Right.
So that would, I would try that. Why that airplane did that and how tape cured it so good, I don't know. But there's something.
Top and bottom, or you only have to do one side?
Just the bottom.
Just the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the bottom. I use Scotch clear tape and just press it into the hinge before you stick it to the flat parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I flew that Saturday, the Nobler, but I got to pull the tank out. Crap was coming out of it and plugged up the damn filter, and so I got to flush the tank. But I haven't flown that in 3 years. So, but yeah, I can go around in a circle now. I can see the bottom.
I had it even.
That's great.
Fanjack fly it.
Are you sure it's not the thrust lines up or down? Because if it's flying stable when it motors off, then it sounds like you've got up thrust or down thrust in it, even if it's a very small amount. I've done it before on a few models. So I've got a slight amount of up thrust or down thrust, and I've had to elongate out the holes and then move the thrust line, try and get it perpendicular to the wing.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well,
So
All right, I know
what
it's
are you
not
holding on
control
to, Mike?
What?
So what are you holding on to?
Well, yeah, it's not control line, but I'm gonna show it. I just finished it. So this is the Raptinator RC kit. The whole thing ready to run was $100 with the motor, ESC, servos, receiver, everything. But we bought this at a swap meet 3 weeks ago for $10. I paid $10 for the whole deal. It came with everything except the battery. The only thing missing was the battery, but it had the motor, the ESC, the receiver, and the servos for $10. It had 2 inches of dust on it, man. It was all taped together in a big stack, and it had dust all over it.
What'd you glue it
Just put
together with?
together yesterday. Finished it.
What'd you
Just
glue
finished it
together with?
tonight. Well, since I started it yesterday and I didn't have any foam safe CA, I used epoxy on it. I used 5 minute on the whole thing. Hobby Lobby is closed on Sundays, and our RC hobby shop is closed on Sundays. So I started assembling it with epoxy yesterday, but it balances okay. I just had to add a battery, and look, dude, it's ready to go.
It goes 0 to wide open in a second.
That's a screamer.
Working. All that's good to go.
Yeah.
Left, right, up, down, and then
Sam's gonna.
Oh, it's got
I think
is
it's
that
going to scoot.
Flaprons or Elevons?
Elevons.
Elevons.
Elevons. Up, down, left, right.
Looks like a
Took
lot
me
of
a
fun.
while to figure all that crap out with the computerized radio.
Yeah.
Getting I had to go into the V-tail mix to get all that stuff straightened out to get them to go the right way, and had to orient the servos the correct way with the horns, But no, it's all good. It's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, it's gonna go left, and it's gonna go right. I'm sure I got to reduce the throws because that's probably way too much throw. But I'll do that in the radio.
Mhm.
But yeah, I
You
think
gonna
it's
fly
going
in
to
your
be pretty
backyard?
fast.
You gonna fly in your
again?
backyard?
I'm gonna fly it out in front of the house tomorrow, man. Hell yeah.
I can see it. I can see it pulling on you when you light it up. It's got some good thrust.
Mike,
I'm
now
gonna
don't
fly it
be
at the bus stop. I'm gonna
Don't
fly it at the bus stop
flying
tomorrow
and
morning.
crashing Sam's airplanes.
What?
I said, don't be flying and crashing Sam's airplanes.
This one's not Sam's. This one's mine, man.
Oh, let him fly that one since you crashed his.
You need you ought to tie a streamer to it when you fly it.
Say again, Al?
Tie a streamer to it and fly it around. Combat streamer.
No, I'm gonna fly it at the bus stop tomorrow morning, man. It'll be okay. It's fine.
Have you guys ever seen RC Combat?
Yes.
Throw it at the Nats.
The Nats.
Really
2
fun.
years ago. We love it. Sam and I had an off day like on Tuesday or something 2 years ago, and they were running RC Combat, and we went down there and we watched for like 2 hours. We sat there and watched RC Combat, and I was this close to start building RC Combat planes because they have different events. They have different classes. There's like an open, there's a restricted, there's, you can run them on a bladder just wide open. And then there's a throttle version, there's an electric version. It looks really, really fun.
The
Like a lot
bitch
of fun.
is they don't make the damn motors anymore.
You can run LA 25s on them, man.
They were, most of them though were the 15 Magnum 15s.
they got a 25 class.
25s.
Oh, they have 25 now?
Yeah.
They were running a 25 class on a bladder, which
Right.
is a 25 LA on a bladder.
Right.
That's the class we want. And I went, shit, I got 10 of these engines. All we need, we know how to run bladders because we're combat guys.
Mhm.
I was like, Sam, we could jump right into this, man. But it's, you got to give something else up to go fly another event, man. You can't fly them all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't fly every event.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was 15s, and then they limited with the Magnum that you had to have an insert in the carb because of the speed of that Magnum 15. And then I know they came out with a Warbird combat one where you gotta
Yeah,
paint them like a
they were
Mustang and this
flying.
and that or whatever.
I
And
don't. The rules I think have changed dramatically because we actually talked to the guy that runs RC Combat at the Nats. We were very interested in it, and I'm like, "What engines do you run?" He's like, "LA 25s. You can have a bladder or a suction tank. That's like the open class. It's just they run WFO with a 25 and any fuel system that you want." And then there's really just a few restrictions on the airframe,
oh,
Well,
okay.
guys, I'm signing off. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Okay,
All
Al, thanks for
Have
coming.
a good night.
See you later.
Yeah.
Believe me, our interest was very peaked on the RC Combat. Sam, when he saw it, he was immediately like, "Daddy, can we do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but we got to stop flying control line and we got to stop doing this and that because you can't do everything."
You'd have to.
Saying that you could build an airplane for like $10. They build them out of some kind of foam. They cut the foam and bend it, or that foam board shit.
They were doing Coroplast planes
Yeah,
back in the day.
Coroplast, yeah.
They're a little now. They're running foam wings with a spar, and they got dehedral.
Okay.
I think they're a little more than $10 an airplane now. But still,
But yeah, at one time that was the biggest event at the NAS. RC Combat.
it's still pretty big. What were you gonna say, Gerald?
Oh, it used to be popular here in New Zealand, but I remember seeing it as a kid back in the 1970s, and the issue back then seemed to be getting them close enough to actually get anywhere near making a cut. And it seemed like it was something that needed a lot of skill to actually be able to get the models close enough together. But back then it would have been quite simple. The radios would have been simple, and they would have probably used 3.5 on a simple a model that was like a blown up diesel combat model back then. But I haven't seen it since. I can't really remember.
Gerald, these things have they have at least 5-foot wingspans on them. They're bigger than control line combat models. They have at least 5-foot wingspans. They have dehedral in the wing, okay?
Yeah.
And they're aileron and elevator. There's no rudder. They're very, stick fuselage. They do have a rudder, but it doesn't do anything. But elevator and aileron, but dehedral in the wing, 5-foot wingspan, with a fast 25 out front, and then they run like stink, and they're towing like a 20 or 25-foot streamer on the back, and it's not even a streamer. It's like it's not crepe paper streamer or combat material streamer. It's actually flagging tape, the plastic flagging tape that they use. And then on the leading edge of the wing, they put double-sided tape on the leading edge of the wing because you can get a cut that way as well.
Oh, on either side, yeah.
Either side. So it's doubled over on the top side, like 1 inch, and there's a rule on how wide it can be. I don't know if it's 1 inch or 2 inch, double-sided tape on the wing, and on the bottom side of the wing, same thing, double-sided tape. So when you slap the wing, it'll break the streamer, and then it'll stick to your leading edge. But the way the rules go, anything that's towing a streamer is legal for a cut. So you're not just getting a cut on the guy who's towing a streamer behind his fuselage. If a guy gets a wing cut and is towing 20 feet of streamer on his wing, and you cut that, that counts as a cut, and you get points for that. Any streamer that's being towed from any part of the airplane, whether it's from the wing, from somebody that got a cut, or from his own airplane, if another opponent cuts any of that and touches any of that streamer, that counts as a cut. Now they have like 5 spotters watching the match, and they go 5 up at a time. They fly 5 airplanes at a time, but there's a box. There's a box that they have to fly in. There's a minimum altitude and a maximum altitude, and then a box this way. And the spotters are all watching the 5 airplanes go at it. You have to be in the box to get a cut. If you're above or below or outside, the cuts don't count. They run a really good event. They really do. They were very organized.
Is that because I was watching it and they had one guy there and he wasn't getting any cuts and he was flying around and stuff. He waited till the other airplanes had streamers stuck all over him. It slowed him down. Then he was going there and getting little teeny cuts and ended up winning the whole thing because the other airplanes were so slow then with all the stuff stuck on the wing.
But that's the thing. They got sticky tape on the leading edge of the wing, and that makes a cut. It's not really a cut. You're breaking it and it's sticking to the wing. But that's how they do it. Because and Gerald, that probably goes back to what you were saying in the 1970s when they were flying combat. How hard is it to get a cut
with a tiny
combat on a 9 or 10 inch propeller? That's very hard in a 3-dimensional world. It's not the same as flying combat when you're only dealing with, a foot this way or that way on control line combat. But in a 3-dimensional world, yes, it'd be very hard. But now you've got a 60-inch wing that has all the sticky tape on it. So you just got to be close and catch the streamer as you go by. And the streamer material is such that if a wing does hit it, it breaks and sticks to the wing. But now, however much is dragging behind that wing is fair game for somebody else to get a cut. So,
it's evolved a lot. It's gone a long way since when I would have seen it.
It has. We sat and watched it 2 years ago. Now, last year when we went to the Nats, RC Combat was not being run the week that we were there, so we didn't get to see it. But 2 years ago, Sam and I had an off day, and we went on there and we sat there for 2 hours watching this stuff, and we talked to the guys running it. It piqued our interest. We were very interested in it, and it
looks like
really
fun.
Cool. It's so much fun, yeah. And I think it's cheap too. All you need is a 2-channel radio for one of the events. You just need elevator and ailerons and no throttle, because they just run wide open. So 2-channel radio with a 25, and then the design of the airplane, which I'm sure they got down to. I don't think it's as cheap as $10 an airplane, but I'm sure you can get them as cheap as $25 an airplane. But they were the same as combat guys. They show up with 10, 12, 15 airplanes. They may not all have radio gear in them and engines. I think if you got 4 engines and 4 sets of servos, you wreck a plane and then you pull it out and put it in the other airplane for the next heat.
Yeah, they're only using like $6 servos and shit from Hobby King on them.
Yeah, it's all cheap stuff, man, and it's all plain bearing 25s.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, one of our local RC clubs has got enough interest that they're actually concreting and doing a new control line circle. So it sounds like we might have some more control line people that are interested. Our North Shore Club, which is quite close to us. So I wonder, I haven't belonged to an RC club for a few years now. It'd be interesting to see if anybody is trying that obviously more developed, sophisticated form of combat around here. I'll have to do some research, but it does sound like it's a lot more viable than what we tried or what people tried to do in the old days. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
John,
Mike.
I think maybe just look at the AMA website for RC Combat and see, or just go to YouTube and type in RC Combat 2018 or 2019 and see what they're doing. It is absolutely not the same thing that was happening in the 70s, for sure.
Mm.
Mike, did you see Al's airplane is 049 fly there on YouTube?
I did.
It looks like it really flies good.
Looked pretty good to me. Yeah, I think Al's got a winner there, for sure. But that's not the one he's going to use. They're working on another design. He said they were using that one as a test bed for the engine to get the engine run down. They're building something else.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is half-a stunter for Brodeck.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'll have to have a look and see if I can find this video.
It was on Facebook, is where I seen it. He'd posted 2 or 3 different things this weekend.
Mm.
Facebook, control line flying. It was in the control line flying group on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look over the old posts. I don't always get the chance.
But I think Al said he didn't build the Pathfinder. Somebody else did. So he was getting his engine stuff right. But they're building something else. Foam wing, bigger with flaps.
Oh, that was one of them half-a Pathfinders.
He was flying a half-a Pathfinder.
Oh, okay.
He was really just trying to get the engine thing down. I think everybody's going to go bigger. I think because everyone who's running a bladder, it has more power. Nobody's going to be flying a balsa. Well, not the smart ones anyway. Are going to be flying standard balsa half-a models that are kitted.
Well, one thing,
I think the smart
Pathfinder,
money
it was
is
pretty
on.
big and nothing really pulled it that great.
Listen, man, the smart money is on the biggest ass foam wing airplane you can make with a half-a. I'm telling you.
Oh.
The most wing area you can make with a half-a airplane with a foam wing. And flaps or not, you don't need them. But wing area is going to be the key.
We got a guy on YouTube, James Faust, says he's got 20 of his dad's old rat racers from the early 50s.
Oh, my gosh.
I told him that about the only thing we don't talk about very much in here is carrier. We talk about racing some nights, but he just posted back said that's carrier. So, yeah, that's
Al is the guy to ask about rat racing.
Yeah, Al was here before you came on, James. He's a carrier. He flies carriers some, but that's like a simulated flight deck with lines that you try to catch. You have to fly a simulated sortie and then catch a line on the carrier deck, and it's actually a pretty complicated mechanically bell crank and all for flying carrier.
Are we talking about rat racing or carrier?
Well, he mentioned rat racing. First, he asked if old rat racers were much, and I joked. I posted back. I said the planes maybe, the guys that flew them not so much. But then he said,
Al flew rat back in the day. All those New England guys and the Northeast guys flew rat race.
Yeah.
They
We get some of those guys in here, but as far as carrier, yeah, we don't get a whole lot of carrier talk. We have, but not a whole lot. Yeah. Gerald, you got some carrier planes set up, don't you?
Yeah, but enough interest to actually fly a carrier event here. That's the problem. We've had sporadic. A guy will come along and say, I want to do carrier and build a carrier model, but then trying to get 2 or 3 of them together and organize an event's never really happened in my flying career anyway.
Yeah. Hey, you got to lug a damn deck around everywhere you go, and set that up. So I guess that's part of the problem. It might be too much trouble.
Well,
we still do it at Huntersville, though.
That's like in Michigan. I think they're going to have 2 carrier events this year at the Tour de Michigan. but it's a different kind of carrier. And I'm trying to think. You can only fly Fox 35. You fly some motor on them. I can't remember, but it's pretty cool because you can't have the deal what triggers that damn thing to fly like that.
Yeah.
It's like a regular air. You got to set the airplane up. So either it hovers real good or it flies fast real good.
They got a thing that kicks the lead out guide off so it'll hover,
You can't
turn
have
up and hover like that.
full-time carrier. You can't have that lead out guide that kicks out. But what these guys do is that they have a ball bearing in a tube, and they fly their level laps, and they do something, and it lets that ball bearing go, and it falls to the outside wing and kicks the wing down. So it holds it out when you're drops that wing back when you're trying to fly. That's
gives it god awful tip weight.
But yeah, John Paris, he's building one for this year. Dick's got one, of course. Pat's got one, and a couple other guys got them. And, Pat's won the last couple years in a row. He's pretty damn good at it. He can hover that thing. They got the throttle. They got a throttle with a RC throttle instead of the 3-wire, and he sits there and holds that throttle and throttles that airplane, and he's good at it.
Yeah, but they can't go beyond 60 degrees, man. You get 3 warnings, man.
Right, but
you can't hover the airplane.
No, but what it is that with the ones without the kick out on the
lead outs,
it won't. You can't get it back that far. But you'd be surprised if there's a little bit of wind, they can keep that under 60 degrees and just barely give it throttle, and that son of a bitch will just move a half a mile,
Yeah. No, I understand that, but there is because they're out there with the triangle, man, and they get 3 warnings, and you use all 3 apparently. If you're a competitor, you want to be on your 3rd warning, because every time you get a warning, you're going real slow, so that helps your time.
Yeah,
so you always use all of your warnings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the old drag race saying. They say if you don't read light, you're not trying hard enough. You've got to be pushing the envelope.
Yeah, so it's they do that every year here. We do rat racing, with 15s. Trying to remember what the other 15s and 20 LA 25s, I think, is the other one. But that's got to be like the Goodyear Racers, that kind of rat racing.
Is rat racing like team racing?
Yeah. Yep, it's like team racing, except their team racing is diesels and they're so fast. El Rat Racing had like a 25 and all, and they made them go fast. Even Rat Racing though went faster and faster and faster all the time. And you had a little thing, quick fill tanks, and you filled them and had to start them. The diesels now, they do something with the handle and it cuts off the diesels. They fly in, the guys just catch them and restart them, and off they go again. They don't even refill anymore.
Yeah, the team racing is very popular here in New Zealand. There are a whole lot of they've got their own Facebook group for control line team race flyers here in New Zealand. They're very keen on it here.
All carbon fiber airplanes now, and
I don't understand the
girl that flew stunt. The girl that flew stunt in the World Championships, I think she took first in team racing in the junior and was way up in the whole deal. And she was a catcher. She caught that airplane coming in at 100 miles an hour.
God damn.
And she'd reach out there and grab that airplane and wham, and off it went again. She was really good at it. But so yeah, she was flying both. That was hard for her because times that she had to fly at for stunt, and then had to fly. They spread it out so she could go back and forth between circles and do both.
Hey, Steve, is Samantha going to team trials this year in Tulsa?
I don't know. Could be. Her boyfriend says she has to.
What are you waiting to announce, or you just don't know till it's time? Are you building an airplane right now?
Until we pack the airplane up, I can't say where we're gonna fly.
Okay.
She's young, and besides that, she's a girl. So who knows? Her boyfriend says she has to fly and go to Poland, but we'll see who wins out in that.
That's where the Worlds are going to be this year, Poland.
Yeah.
Is he helping pay for it? Is that why he wants her to go? Because he's going to
No.
pay for it?
Kids pay for nothing.
Yeah.
He was out watching her fly Saturday. He couldn't believe how she could fly that airplane. But yeah, he was out there watching her and everybody else, and he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you can do that in a circle." But he was.
Is he just now seeing it for the first time?
Yeah, yeah. He's seen it on like YouTube and seen her airplanes and stuff like that. But until he got out there at the circle and actually seen how close she was turning at the ground. First flight, she stayed up high and was just doing some stuff. The second flight, boy, she was burning some shit in. And it's like, she's like, "Oh, my bottoms are back." And she was saying to Dick, she said, "I still got to get them a foot lower." She goes, "Like I was at the World Championships at 4 feet." She goes, "But 5 feet's pretty easy." So she said she goes to the net. She's going to be turning them in at 4 foot. We'll see how much she practices and how fast it comes back. But it took her one flight and she was burning them in. The only problem she had was with the hourglass. But I can see it on that airplane because when I flew it, it doesn't have. I was going to ask Geyser. It doesn't really have any tension at 45 degrees. So I think the lead outs have to go forward in that case at 45 to get your tension. But I have to call Bob Hunt and ask him about.
I would have guessed otherwise, but don't take my advice.
I would think so too, but it kind of sticks in my mind that at the 45 you get tension by moving them forward. So it's a trade-off to get the tension there. It has to be back for the other things, but it's a balance between the 45 degree and the other parts of the maneuver. And I don't know why at 45 it's so much different than overhead or whatever. Overhead is lead outs. Now that's the same thing with your overheads. You move lead outs forward if you got no tension.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. That's how I understand it. Yeah.
You move forward in overheads, and at the 45 you move forward to get that tension right when you're trimming an airplane. So, but that airplane, I flew it today. It's so damn touchy that I can, hardly do anything with it. But I did part of a wing over and then fly it up at 45 and overhead and stuff like that. But it was a deal to where straight and level, that thing pulled like a beast. But at 45, you lost all tension up there. And she's saying it didn't have much tension compared to her other airplanes. So I think it needs to be trimmed, but she was still, flying them like she stole it. I pay for them, so.
I got an owl right outside my garage going, "Ooh, ooh."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like for the last 20 minutes. I got an owl out there hooting and hooting and hooting.
What's really, we have a lot of barred owls here in Michigan, from you being from Michigan, all the barred owls. And hoot, you coo, or whatever, how they make that noise when they hoot. And I was talking to my brother. I said, I got a retarded barred owl. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, that son of a bitch just goes, hoochoo, coochoo, and it stops. I said, it doesn't do the fourth one.
He can't remember the words.
Well, I've been in this house for 5 years. I've never heard an owl here. When I lived in East Nashville 5 years ago, for the previous 10 years, we had bunches of owls there in East Nashville. This is the very first time I've heard an owl that I've been in this home for 5 years. And he's right outside in the tree. I can hear him just plain as day.
Well,
I don't know what kind of owl
says
it
to
is.
me, he goes, oh my God. He goes, that's a great horned owl. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, that's a great horned owl. So one night we're sitting in here and I thought the roof cracked from something, I hear thunk, and the dog's barking and all this kind of shit. And I blew it off. The next night I hear the same thing. The dog goes barking. I'm like, what the hell? I walk outside. Here's a great horned owl on the peak of my roof. I'm looking at that thing. It just jumped off the roof and held its wings out and just floated, went across the street and over my neighbor's house. That thing was so big, it could have picked up and left with my dog.
Yeah, they got a hell of a wingspan. That's
It's
a big
the
bird.
largest owl there is. And it's like, and I'm like, I seen that thing and I was like, oh my God. Because that has a
Just be quiet for a second. Be quiet for a second. You hear it?
No.
You
I think
can't
I
hear
did.
it? Okay. All right. Yeah, I can hear it loud as day, but
Yeah, I can hear it.
you got a lot of
I can hear
rabbits around there, Mike. Owls move around. Now, as of last year, we had no rabbits. I haven't seen a rabbit this year so far. But last year in the spring, I probably had 30, 40 of them in my yard. I heard owls and stuff at night. Next thing you know, there was no rabbits left.
Yeah.
Took
They-
care
Well,
of that trouble.
I was just surprised. I mean, this has been going on for 30 minutes now at least, and this owl is loud as shit. And I've
Yeah,
never heard an owl here where I live.
I can hear it, but it comes out as an unusual sound. It doesn't come out clearly through the internet. You can hear it, but it's sort of muffled and doesn't quite sound like an owl would normally. But you can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an owl. We don't have any problems with rabbits because we have a cat, and my calico is a murdering bitch, and she kills every rabbit, every frog, every snake, every anything, bird. I get all kinds of presents on the back porch.
Murder cat.
She's a murder cat. My wife, now this is my wife's cat, and she loves this cat, but she gets so mad when she brings rabbits and squirrels, baby rabbits and baby squirrels to the back porch. And a lot of times she's like banging on the back door, like, and she's got a live one, a live rabbit. And my wife's like, no, don't kill babies, don't kill baby. And I'm like, she's a cat. What do you expect? She's gonna kill, you know?
Yeah. We've got 5 cats.
That it could catch bats. How it got bats, I don't have any idea. But that thing would bring about a bat a night back to the house.
Gerald, what's the ickiest animal you have there? Do you have a cat or a dog?
We've got 5 of these. I got.
Oh, 5 of those.
We've got 5 of them. They're all old though, and so they don't really catch a whole lot. But we've actually got a lot of native birds around the house because the cats just don't seem to bother them too much. I think I feed them too well, and they're all old cats. But we haven't had cows. We kicked all the cows out after they invaded the flying site. We had a farmer grazing our paddocks probably nearly 10 years ago. We kicked them all out. And
If
so
you had young cats, what would be like the grossest, ickiest thing they would kill and bring to you? Snakes or rats or
We don't have snakes, but we did have one cat in the past that would catch eels, and
eels?
sometimes, yeah, sometimes rabbits. We had one that caught rabbits, a young cat. But New Zealand doesn't have anything. Most of the native fauna is birds and a few lizards, but there aren't many. The farmers decimated everything when they moved in. When it was colonized, they just flattened everything and turned it all into paddocks to grow their sheep and cows. So
Okay.
those areas that do have native wildlife tend to be the remote offshore islands, and those parks they've set up as special reserves, and they've fenced out the predators. But yeah, we don't have anything really exciting. There's no large native animals.
You don't have any snakes at all?
No
in New
snakes
Zealand,
at
or
all.
just
Oh.
very
Very few. Only a small frogs. It's a colourful small native frogs, but yeah, there's not much in the way of. There's the tuatara, which is a large reptile that looks like a prehistoric dinosaur, but it's still quite a small reptile, and it's in very remote areas. And we've got a harrier and a hawk, but they're quite small birds, and we've got a native owl they call the ruru, and that's what it sounds like when it makes its call, ruru. It's what it more or less sounds like. It's called, but it's just a very small owl. It's a tiny little thing.
Now, do you have any?
I
other?
like-
You got
I like
marsupials
that.
there?
Sorry, it's cool. We've got possums, introduced possums from Australia, and they're pretty yuck in terms of what they do to the environment, killing all the other native birds and destroying our fruit trees. So we'll trap and shoot them with an air rifle.
Yeah.
But,
Because they eat all the eggs. They eat all the
Yep.
bird eggs.
yeah, they're pretty destructive.
Possums, raccoons, man, they eat nesting birds that lay their eggs on the ground, like turkeys and lots of others. Possums and raccoons just decimate those. You know?
Now, at one time, did you have emus there, or just the kiwi was about the only ground bird?
Well, they had larger versions of the kiwi that they call the moa, and the moa was like a giant version of the kiwi that when the Maori moved to New Zealand from the Pacific, they hunted them to extinction. They were a ground-dwelling bird, and like the dodo, they were tasty, from what I understand, and they were made extinct before Europeans arrived in New Zealand. So there's large bones of them. They were a big bird like an emu or an ostrich. They were very large, like 12 foot tall or whatever. They were really, really massive.
Hey, dudes, I think I'm about done for tonight. If y'all want to keep on chatting, that'll be great. But I'm going to go ahead and sign it off, all right?
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks very much, Rusty. And I think I should go and do dinner.
Yeah.
But,
Our YouTube crowd's dwindling. We're down to 10 now. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining. And
we never did get Mark on here, did we?
No, but he did tell me that he's gotten into Stunthangar and he's having trouble with his tablet. He's going to bring his laptop home from work on Friday and give it another try.
Who was that?
Good.
Mark was on earlier, who's never been with us before.
A guy we were trying to get in earlier.
Yeah. So he's going to come back Friday with his laptop and see if he has better luck.
Okay.
Well, that's
okay.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, people. Well, y'all have a great week, and I'll see you back here Friday.
All right. Steve, I'll stay on if you want to chat.
All right. Yeah, I can stand.
I'll better move on and do the dinner.
Hey, really enjoyed the cartoons, man. That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you do good work.
Zine, you really do.
Oh, well, that's great. Oh, well, it's been a good session, and I'll bid you all good night and catch you around.
All right.
Okay. Wait, Gerald. Jack Riley's got one last question. He says, "Doesn't New Zealand have spiders the size of Volkswagen?"
Volkswagen.
No. nothing that exciting. Sorry. No, we've got,
on that, I bid you good night.
Yep. Okay. Good night.